Good morning. It is a Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. That would make me Glenn Clark. He's Griffin Bass. We have a good bit to do here on a Wednesday edition of the program. There's our guy, Drew Forrester, joining us in the studio this morning. What's going on, pal? Thanks for stopping in.
Should I try to be Drew today?
No. You should never try to be Drew at any point in your life. I would say that's a bad idea. I don't know. Well, it's nice. What I appreciate most about him is how he respects other people's time, and that he's a guest on the show. That's very meaningful. Maybe he'll be here. Maybe he won't. It'll be okay if he's not.
He did tell me he would be here like right at 10. So now it's 10:01.
Right at 10. Close. Allegedly, I guess he'll probably want to talk about the golf tournament that I will not watch one shot of all weekend.
Nope. What about the AI?
I mean, is Tiger Woods playing in the thing?
I doubt it.
I don't know. I genuinely didn't he play in the Masters? Why wouldn't he play in this one?
Because he got hurt in the Masters, right?
Well, I mean, he's always hurt. He's perpetually hurt. I mean, if he's not playing, there's zero chance.
This is the
Zero. None.
PGA.
Yes, it's the PGA Championship. You realize? Do you not know that?
What is this? Texted Roy McIlroy with swing tips.
Okay, so it smells to me like he's not playing.
It doesn't look like he's playing.
Almost no chance. I don't know what the circumstances would be. I really don't know what would make me.
Oh, actually, a week ago today, he was ruled out.
Oh,
officially.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. The issue is the Orioles play. Like, with all due respect, tomorrow's an afternoon game, so there's clearly no chance I'm watching tomorrow afternoon. I'd like to go, actually. I don't know if we can get out of here on time. Why are they starting at 12:30? Oh, it's the field trip thing, right? Field trip day for tomorrow. I guess if there was a time, it might be Friday afternoon, but it's not going to be a priority. And then I believe it's afternoon games on both Saturday and Sunday up in Toronto. I believe Saturday is like a 3 o'clock game.
It is.
And then Sunday's and that. Like, when would I watch? When? Like, I don't know when. I mean, I guess maybe after the baseball game is over on Sunday, I might flip over and watch the end of it. And that way I could pretend.
As long as Rory's winning, and then
sure, I don't care. I just don't care. But Drew will be here. We think. We'll see. Also coming up today, we are scheduled to make a trip to Norfolk to chat with the scorching red-hot Colton Cowser. And Brett Phillips, former Oriole, was here last season, part of seeing how this started to turn around. He's now with the Angels and has been back in town the last couple of days. We'll catch up with Brett Phillips this morning as well, so a good bit to do on the program today. Today's show is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. It's also Would You Rather Wednesday, brought to you by Birdland Sports. I have the scenarios up on Facebook. I will get them posted here on Twitter momentarily for you to participate and perhaps win a shirt of your choosing, like the new Mr. Splash T-shirt that Birdland Sports unveiled this week. Birdlandsports.com. Orioles win last night 7-3. Just me. Maybe I would have rather had Yanier Cano available on Monday in a real situation instead of pitching in a 4-run game in the 9th inning last night. Just might be me. Might be me that I would have preferred the one circumstance to the other personally. Just would have been my choice. So that's all.
They did win.
We did win. You're right about that. Nice of them to show up. They did win, and that's a good thing. And it was a lovely evening in general last night. Dean Kramer not quite as good. He's freaking out about that. What is going to happen to you? I'm starting to worry about you. What happens if that doesn't get open? What happens? Do you turn into like a gargoyle? What occurs if that's not the case? He's come in here freaking out. What is your deal?
He can't look until the sun is out.
What the hell is happening here? What is? Explain it to me.
I've developed like this. How's it going, by the way?
Yeah, good to see you.
I'm almost over the super COVID.
We started it. Yeah, are you? You're almost over it?
Almost.
Did you see what was trending the other day?
I'm still struggling.
The other morning, it was super ejaculate was trending.
Oh, okay. I missed that one.
Super cum was trending.
But the guy said, I went to see somebody yesterday who said the likelihood of anyone else catching it is only like 25%.
Here's the thing. You already used that one on Sunday. You need to come up with new. I know I'm asking for a lot.
It's the worst cold I've ever had
Come
in my
up
life.
with some new material.
Where were
Thanks
we?
for coming in then.
I
I need you to
I've
know,
developed
if you've got the
reverse-
worst cold of all time, it's okay to say to Griffin, can't make it in this week. It's okay.
It's a sinus infection. It's not a cold.
All right.
That's what my doctor
All
said.
right.
She was very adamant.
Okay. What does she know?
I've developed like this reverse claustrophobic condition. I have to see outside at all times.
Okay.
I can't be. I guess that's a claustrophobic condition.
Yeah, I think. Right.
I can't be in a room where I can't see something outside. It's really weird.
So what about, like,
I mean,
say...
I'm not ready to see a therapist for it, but I should.
Yeah, it might be time, man.
No, I mean, therapy's for quitters.
Right, that's a great point. Yeah, who needs therapy? That's a good lesson to be passing along to everybody.
Therapy's for people who are screwed up.
Right. You know what? You nailed it. You nailed it. That's exactly who it's for. You know somebody?
Me, I'm good.
Right, yeah,
Just
you're
open
good.
the window.
Just open that window.
Just open the window, and I'm good.
He comes in here all bunched up. No! I can't!
I have to have. I do the same thing at 105.7 when they slide the thing. You know,
Yes,
that
yes.
door slides. Nope.
It's a weird setup they've got over there. I don't really know
I
what
can't
that's
have
all
that
about.
door closed. I've
See,
got to be able to see outside.
My problem is when we are here later in the afternoon, the sun starts coming down. It's gotten so much worse. When the sun's coming down, it almost blinds me. Like, to the point where I can't function. I've been doing lacrosse games recently where, like, I've been looking into the sun as it's coming down. I don't think they're going to be participating in this weekend.
That's what Tillman gets for not shaking that guy's hand.
Is that what it was? You think that was... Well, he did. He shook his hand.
Karma.
Then he just moved on very quickly after.
Right. What are those? They any good?
I haven't tried them yet. We saved those for Memorial Day. You can come back then if you'd like.
They're just going to sit there until Memorial Day?
Yes, correct. Memorial Day is when we try to
We'll
eat
put them up
chips.
and we'll get another bag.
No. These are for Memorial Day.
All
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you've been...
Chips and
I
a
tell you what,
pickle.
if you show up on time next time,
No.
maybe...
I told the captain here I'd be here shortly.
Get Captain.
I had to stop and get coffee.
Captain.
You know
Sure,
that. I'm not
sure.
coming in here with coffee.
Drew Forrester, Drew's Morning
That
Dish.
home run that Ohtani hit Monday just landed.
Well, I'm just not sure. It's still... I mean, my God, that's one of the...
The
most
whole
insane.
stadium. I've never seen anything like it. The
So you
whole
went-
stadium stood up.
Right, you went on Monday.
It was awesome.
Just because you
Only because of him.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I just told my buddy John Bykowski this. There were thousands of people there with Ohtani jerseys
Sure.
on. Not 300
Sure.
who were there with Aaron Judge jerseys on.
Right.
Or in the old days when David Ortiz came in for the Red Sox, and there were 12,000 Red Sox fans there, but 300 people. There were thousands of people there with Ohtani jerseys on. In front of me, Ethan and I sat in the second row, lower reserve 78, right at the wall. And, of course, every home run went to right field to the left because we were sitting right there. In the row in front of me, there were 6 people with Ohtani jerseys on.
I'm not that stunned by it. It's the biggest phenomenon we've ever seen in the history of baseball.
I told Ethan leaving.
Right.
I said, my dad took me, I still have the ticket stub. My dad took me to see Mickey Mantle when I was 5. I remember nothing about it.
Sure.
But I have the ticket stub. And I'm sure my dad said to me, now Mike Trout might be the exception, but my dad said to me, I'm sure, you'll never see another complete baseball player like this guy. That's probably what my dad said. I'll take you to see Mickey Mantle.
Right.
He's the greatest player you'll ever see in your life. Okay. I didn't,
Little did he know you were going to be able to see Jay Payton.
Yeah, right.
Little did he know.
Right. And I said to Ethan leaving, I said, in your lifetime, I don't think you will ever see a pitcher throw the ball 99 miles an hour in a game and in the same game hit a 456-foot home run and go
Well,
and get on base.
how long was Cologne's 456 feet when he hit his?
His
one
was like
home run?
380 or
Yeah,
something.
just snuck
But
out.
I told Ethan, in your lifetime, you'll never see someone like this in baseball.
No,
I don't think.
Absolutely not.
It's unbelievable.
No, it's truly incredible. I don't disagree with that. I guess I would say, too, it is, however, a reminder of just how absurd it is that they're no good. Like, it's really
the weird
impossible.
Part. Here's the weird part. When you go through their lineup, now I know they switched it up a little bit last night. Our lineup was really impressive last night.
The bottom of the lineup.
I have no idea what that was. I said today it had to be a water cooler prank. where Mike Elias said, "Hey, I got a funny one for you today. We're going to bat Ryan O'Hearn 9th as the DH."
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Anyway,
Well, it worked
their
out.
lineup.
Yeah.
That's the bizarre part. The guy
Well,
hit
it
a
worked
home
out. He hit a home run, and then they pulled him, and then the other guy
Right.
worked out even better.
Hunter Renfroe.
By the way, if he knows when the home runs are going to be hit, he should construct the lineup.
No doubt.
Like,
But if you look at their roster now, I know Rendon's out again. That's a
Right.
shock. But if you look at their roster,
yes.
in terms of guys that, and I'm not saying when I say I would take this player, I'm not suggesting I would take this player in place of what we have. I'm saying on a composite roster of 26 major leaguers, I would take this guy. I would take Hunter Renfroe on my team in a heartbeat. I would obviously you would take Trout. I probably would take Gio Urshela.
Yeah, I think I would.
In a pinch. I would definitely take Brandon Drury. I would take Trout. I would take Ohtani. I would take you know, you're going through the lineup, right? And you're like, I'll take. I mean, even that guy Wallach, who lumbers up there at 280 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their lineup, and they have Rendon, right? It's unbelievable how bad they're 500.
It's truly. It's 30. It's a 30 for 30 one day. It is
in Trout's career. I would say this, for as much as like, I think we would. I mean, they're yelling and they're doing the overrated chant the other night when he's up.
absurd.
Right,
It's
insane.
patently absurd.
But for as much as I think we would all agree, if he isn't the best player of the last 15 years, he or however many, 12, whatever he's playing.
Right.
If he isn't, then you would really have to convince me of who is.
Correct.
If you want to argue Bryce Harper, go ahead, but he's the best player in baseball.
By the way, there's not an argument for Bryce.
I don't think there is.
There is no
either,
argument.
But people like to argue.
Right. Correct.
But if somebody wants to argue that there's a better player, okay. But this guy's been the best player in baseball. The one thing that I do think saddles him and has to be talked about is his team doesn't win.
Correct. Well, I mean, and look,
it's bizarre.
It is bizarre, but it's also how you separate, like the quarterback position in football from. There is no one guy that can do it. It is impossible.
But name a great quarterback.
But
that's what
I'm saying. The quarterback position controls more. You can't compare it that way. We know that in baseball, any one player can be great, but can only be one player. You can't control the game in any other way. You can't control what happens with your pitching
had
staff.
good players there with it.
I know. It's why it's a 30 for 30. The story is
they had Dylan Bundy.
one of the. Yeah, it's a great point. The story is one of the most incredible stories in baseball history, and incredible in a bad way. Obviously.
By the way, they haven't made the playoffs 5 times and gone 0 for 5. They haven't gone to the league championship twice and gone 0 for 2.
Yes, it's not that they haven't won a World Series, right?
They haven't done anything.
Correct. Nothing.
They beat the Royals one year, I think. In the playoffs.
Early on, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that smells right.
Maybe. But they also might have lost that series. They might have lost. In fact, I think they did. They lost to the Royals. I don't even think they won the series.
You might be right about that. You might be right about
They
it.
did. I think it was the year the Royals lost to the Mets.
In fact, they got swept in 2014.
They won 98 games in 2014.
Yes, when the Royals
So they had a really good year, and they went to the World Series and lost to the Mets, right? The Royals, or is that the year?
That was the year they lost to the Mets, and then they
swept by the
didn't.
Royals.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a second.
So
Wait a second.
that was the year the Royals beat
didn't
the
lose.
Orioles.
The Royals beat the Mets in the World Series. The Royals lost to who'd they lose to in the World Series?
Giants?
The Giants. Yes,
That's what I meant.
Giants.
The year they lost to the Giants in the
Correct.
World Series.
Yes.
This happened.
The only time Mike Trout is. This is the way of putting it. He's never won a playoff game.
Okay. Okay.
Unless
That's a
there
good
was
way
a
to put it.
Because I don't think they didn't win.
No,
they won the West.
Royals
They were,
swept.
right, but they weren't in the wild card
Oh, yeah,
game. Is
they
what I
were
was
in the
saying.
wild
No,
card.
they
So
won the West.
So I'll do this. Starting in so that was 13?
That was 14.
14.
Yes.
Do you have their team record?
I do.
Every year since then?
I have.
All right, here you go. Ready? 15, they won 77 games.
They won 85.
Okay. 16, they won 74.
Correct.
Nice.
17, they won 75.
They won 80.
The next year, they won 73.
They won 80 again.
The next year, they won 76.
This was going so well.
72 in 2019.
The next year, they won 70.
Well, that was
that was 2020. They won 26
the
games
pandemic.
out of 16.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Although COVID's still around.
2021.
Nicely timed there.
So,
Nicely timed there.
I mean,
Chief.
they were below. They went 500. They went above 500 in 2015.
It's unbelievable.
They have not been above 500 since.
They've been lousy.
Yes. It's insane. It's insane. It's one of the most incredible. We had Mark Gubas on the other day, and I don't even know how to talk about it. You are traveling with the beat.
Harper, great player. They've won.
Yes.
Who are the 5 best players in baseball in your mind?
Currently the 5
Yeah.
best.
And
It's
even-
a
even-
difficult.
no, no,
Ronald
no.
Acuna.
Even over the
Yeah.
last 5 years. Let's just say the last 5 years.
So Trout.
package it up.
Well, but hang on.
Other than him.
So other than Trout, and
Yeah.
are you separating Ohtani as well?
Yeah, because of the purposes of the argument that he's
Right.
on the same team.
So then it would be
Judge.
Machado, Judge, Harper,
Acuna.
Acuna, and
Mateo.
yeah, right, Mateo. I would argue.
Did you say Harper?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
argue Soto probably is still in the conversation, although he wasn't good last year. But I think if we talked about 5 years, you have to put Soto in the conversation.
Well, 5.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Yep,
All right. What did Soto do?
he won a World Series.
Okay. What did Harper do?
Made it to a World Series.
What did Judge do?
Made it to the playoffs, obviously.
And clearly is the only reason why the Yankees win 93 games every year.
For the most
I
part. I
shouldn't say
mean, that's not true.
only,
Garrett
but-
Cole's pretty freaking good,
But
dude.
he's not the only reason. But he
Yeah.
plays every day.
I hear you.
Without him, they're
But
an
I think
8.
somebody would say it's the biggest difference between the Angels and the Yankees is the Angels pitching.
Okay.
Like, that would be the argument.
Okay, sure.
That-
But
that's
Judge,
the reason why
but
they've
no
been-
one's disputing that Judge is one of the biggest reasons why the Yankees win.
Right, but I think somebody could
He had
similarly
60 home
say,
runs last year.
if Trout had Garrett Cole, he'd be
really?
there.
You think?
I mean,
They've trotted some pitchers out there occasionally.
but not Garrett Cole.
right.
You know, like they
How
haven't
about
done that.
Domingo Germán getting busted last night?
So funny, so funny. I was able to get a couple of them. I said, real shame how a once proud franchise like the New York Yankees just turned into a ragtag group of cheating cheaters.
It's
and
incredible.
I was able to get a couple of them.
It's incredible.
I was able to fish
So
a couple
all of those
them.
guys, I mean, Machado, they went to the NLCS last year,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Like, it is a remarkable story that they can't win. It's like Gary and the Terps.
Well, they won one. I'm not sure if you remember. They did. They won one.
Yeah, but
They went to 2 Final Fours.
that sort of
Not-
didn't count.
Not sure.
I'm talking about when Gary didn't have any players.
Oh, it
and
doesn't.
Gary had to
count.
coach.
Wait, I'm not sure how that has anything to do.
How about Ian
I'm
Martinez
confused.
leaving?
What
Who wanted him?
like? Take me through your brain. I just love to know.
Well, how
I don't care about Ian Martinez leaving.
Where's he going?
Why
by
do
the way?
you?
Drexel?
Who cares?
Drexel.
Who cares where he's going?
Drexel.
It is of no concern
liked
to me.
him, actually.
Why are
You didn't like him?
It was fine.
I liked him.
He was a guy.
Nah, I
He
liked
was
him.
the only thing he had to offer is that nobody else could really shoot last year. He was the one guy that could shoot, but the volume wasn't significant. The percentage was good. The volume was not.
I think we're going to be good this year.
I don't know who we is. I'm not sure what you mean
Terps.
by
You dope?
when did you start claiming them as we?
Been to more games than you.
That's a fact.
That's the only
Nobody's
reason,
arguing.
that's the only reason I
that.
go when my buddy Dale calls me and says, "You
Yeah.
want to go tonight?" I'm
Just-
like, I look at your Facebook and I'm like, "Well, Glenn's home. I'm going."
Yeah.
Just to stick it
I
up.
don't go to anything.
Just to stick it up your backside.
I was so planning on going to see Ohtani the other night, and then I had to do the MIAA JV lacrosse championship because
Who won that? McDonough.
no, Loyola won.
Oh, did they?
Loyola won.
They didn't
Comeback
win last
fashion.
night.
They did not win last night. Calvert Hall advances.
11-8.
And the first one was a thriller
Yeah,
last
8-7,
night.
right? Good game.
Overtime. So that the championship's Friday.
Friday. Is it at
Ridley? I
It's at
believe. Yeah,
Loyola?
at Ridley. Yep. Is
I got my own stuff to worry about. I can't get invested in that.
oh,
right
what's
now.
your deal? When are you guys?
Tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wait a second. They scheduled it during the PGA Championship?
Tomorrow. I scheduled it. I know.
What the hell is
I
that?
couldn't get the golf course till tomorrow. I know.
What the
I'm
world?
kicking myself, but I didn't have a choice. We play Loyola tomorrow.
So how are you going to handle that?
Oh, I'll be looking at my
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, how's that going to go? All right, Drew's here. Drew'sMorningDish.com is the website.
Anyway,
Fairways
it was a
and
pretty
greens.
it was a pretty cool night. It was a pretty cool night.
Yeah, I regret.
And if I haven't looked at their schedule,
Mhm.
but I would say this: if they come to DC or Philly, I would go if he pitched again.
Again,
1
just to
million percent.
experience it.
It's
cool.
incredible.
It's cool.
It's incredible.
That's really cool. Look, man. I do regret not going. I think I'm gonna try
If
to
we
go.
don't talk about the Orioles intentionally squirting people with the hose and make it that into a
really
bit,
wanna-
if we
Drew,
don't,
Drew tried to do this on the radio the other day.
if we don't do that, there is something wrong with us. I can't even
is
begin.
anybody still there that was there then?
Sure.
Who?
Greg Bader.
Oh, he was there?
Of course he was there.
Yeah.
It-
So you think that there's a...
No. I
Okay.
just think it's hilarious.
It is weird because like when they announced... All right,
that
hang on a
people are
second.
now
Hang on a
interested in getting squirted by the bird.
When it was announced, it wasn't just like a... It's
Well, this is pretty lame. Let's be honest.
I gotta be honest about it. Like
It's-
it's just a guy with a water gun.
it's
That's all it is.
pretty lame.
But again, it was never. None of this was ever for me. So I'm the wrong person to talk.
He's wearing floaties and
right.
stuff.
Thank
isn't
you.
he?
None of this was
it's
ever
pretty
for me.
lame.
It's for
Now the concept isn't lame. Let me just say that. I don't think the concept's lame at all. I actually think it's kind of cool. No pun intended. The idea that a dude sits there with a squirt gun and shoots it out at you is kind of dumb. You should come up with a better way to do it than that. It should be automated. There should be a better way to do it. But neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The irony of it all is unreal that people are now paying to get squirted at the stadium. I can't get over it.
not really sure.
I can't get over it.
Not look, man.
Oh, by the way, you got bumped this week for real coverage.
Well, we
It's on
just got
Sunday.
yeah, we got moved up, I guess.
Yeah,
So you can't tank our.
that was my idea, to be honest.
That's
'Cause
fine.
I couldn't do it earlier.
It prevents us from having you tank the audience that the whatever the
Right.
colon blow show or whatever we get from that more. I don't even know what's on before you
It's a
on Sundays.
money investor thing.
I know it's
Oh.
it's
They're
what
good.
I'm sure they're good.
Savvy
I'm not
investor.
sure what the audience is
Savvy
that's
investor.
leading in at that point.
Well, dig in a little bit and come up with something good
Okay,
instead of bringing in the mayor.
I'll do. Yeah, right. What would he have to offer? I understand that. We had a good show this week. A very special Mother's Day show. I was very proud. Of
Yeah,
it. What?
not so much.
Oh, yeah. What was your issue with it?
Cedric Mullins is my issue.
What's your issue with Cedric Mullins?
I can hit from him
Last night. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
I had 5 for 5 if he gets a hit.
Yeah. There we go.
Cost Old Drewski $154 American. Rat Fink.
That rat thinks Cedric Mullins.
I had Urshela, Rutschman, Hayes, Judge, and him.
Well, you can't win them all, Drew. I don't know if you've heard that. You can't win them all.
Unreal.
Well, there's always tonight. I'm sure you'll turn right back around. And plus, you probably took advantage of all the great offers and incentives that are available at PressBoxOnline.com/offers.
That's where I got.
So
that's where I got hooked.
This might have even been a free bet, for
Right.
example, that you made. Because right now, you can get a $50 free bet and up to $1,000 in a deposit bonus match from our friends at DraftKings. Just go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers to claim your incentive. It was a fun night last night. Drew didn't go last night. He went on Monday night because he enjoyed watching the team lose because he's a bad person. It was clearly a fun night last night.
I mean, I was there
What?
too, and watching Ohtani is.
It's fine, but they lost.
They did lose.
Yes,
Yeah.
they lost the baseball game. Not sure if you're familiar because had to get another 2 batters out of Grayson Rodriguez instead of putting Yenier Cano in when the game mattered and was still on the line. But I'm totally over it. I haven't thought about it at all since then. It's not still something that I'm concerned about.
Okay.
I am.
Good.
I was heated about that yesterday, by the way. What did you think about that in the 4th inning on Monday?
Well, I think he's really struggling, obviously.
No, but I'm saying specifically then, this is when people were trying to make there see some sort of closer controversy. The point that I made was that it's nice to be able to have your high leverage pitcher be available for
That early?
whatever the highest leverage. The game was determined in the 4th inning on Monday night. It's one thing if you're throwing a guy out there and saying, look, we kind of don't care what happens tonight. This guy's got to get us 8 innings.
Well, the inning started, I'm doing this off the top of my head. We were up 3-2.
4-3.
Wallach, right.
Yep.
Wallach hit the home run
Yes.
to make it 4-4.
Yep.
They got 2 guys on somehow.
I believe with 1 out.
Taylor Ward and or Tyler Ward, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Ward and Renfro got on.
He had put on 2 base runners every inning.
And then
He
Ohtani,
clearly
right.
did not have it.
So you're saying take him out before Ohtani?
Take him out before Ohtani, put in Cano, who gets lefties and righties out at the exact same clip. Nobody can get a hit
Right.
off of him. Use him in your highest leverage situation. If he
Try
gets
to keep
out of it,
4-4.
go back, have him pitch again in the 5th inning, and then deal with it after that. You ended up pulling Grayson Rodriguez 2 batters later. So the innings thing, the argument of, well, we need
the
to get...
guy they brought in, I mean, you might as well.
Well, I understand
That
that.
guy stinks.
I understand. But the point being, by the way, he was here for 1 day, and then he was gone.
Right.
But the idea of, well, we don't want to pull him because then it's going to really tax our bullpen. You taxed your bullpen anyway. You pulled him 2 batters later. You did the exact same thing. Why in the world? I'm not one. I don't hate Brandon Hyde. I think Brandon Hyde, for the most part, has done a nice job. But that one spit in the face of logic and sense. This is the way that it works. The guy didn't have it. I'm not saying Grayson Rodriguez will never be able to work out or that he's a bust or anything like that, but he didn't have it on Monday night.
He doesn't have it.
You can argue that. He's had it in moments, but for the most
He's
part.
had it in 2 moments against the Tigers. Other than that,
Well,
he's
after the
given
first
up 27 earned runs in
after the
27
first inning
innings.
against the Rangers, he's had it other than 1 inning a few times. Other than 1 inning against the White Sox, he had it. He's had it other than 1 inning a couple times. He didn't have it at all.
In 27 innings,
I hear
other
you.
than the Tigers, he's given up 27 earned runs.
I understand that, but
Do
a
you
lot
know
of them
what
happen.
that ERA is?
I do. I'm very aware of what that ERA is. I understand. Let me go back a second. That, to me,
But I still think
spit in the face of logic. It was absurd.
I hear you. I don't know. I hear everything you're saying, and I'm not saying that would have been a poor decision to bring Cano in. I just don't feel like that's even close to a natural spot for him.
But that's the value of Cano. Like, why are we obsessed with the idea that somebody pitches the 8th inning, somebody pitches the 9th inning? That's the way that it works. Instead of understanding,
I
hey,
don't
the game
know that
can be determined at any moment. Any moment of the game can be the game that the moment determines the game. And on Monday night, we all know what moment determined the game.
Right.
In that moment,
That's true.
when the game is potentially on the line, go to your highest leverage reliever. Again, with the flip side argument being, if it's your pitcher that you choose to have eat innings for you. Right now, like what the Royals are doing with Jordan Lyles, they say, dude, if you give up 12 runs, we don't care. You're pitching 9 innings. That's the way it's going to be.
Right.
We're resetting our bullpen every time you pitch, no matter what you do. We don't care. But outside of that, why in the world? I don't know. Is it important? Do you need to take that?
No, I'm looking at something.
Okay. Is
So I'm looking something up, but in the meantime, you're
trying to do a show? Yeah.
I know. I'm saying I'm
come to your house and chew gum.
You can if you want.
Yeah.
I just
It's
don't
an
know
option.
that. I just don't know that using him in the 4th inning.
Why? What is the disposition against using him in the 4th inning?
You can't use him in the 7th or 8th when you need him.
They didn't need him
We know that now.
because they couldn't get out of the 4th. That's the point.
It's easy for you to say this now.
No, I said it in that moment. I was screaming it at Cooper's North. I wish you would have been there. What in the world are you doing? And we spent all last week
the guy
talking
you brought
about
in
it.
definitely stinks.
I don't bring it. They didn't bring anybody in. They left Grayson out there to give up the 3-run homer. Who cares who you bring in at that point? I mean, my God. That's the moment
How
of the
much
game.
more do you go with him?
We'll talk about it in Would You Rather Wednesday. It's not. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
That'll come back up. That's the moment. I can't. That answer is unfathomable to me. By the way, well, you can't use them in the 4th inning.
Well, I didn't say you can't. I said that I think that's an awkward spot for him. That's all.
I don't understand. Do you think that?
Now, what if Ohtani rips one off the wall and those 2 runners score? Like, then what do you do? I do think I will counter what you said a little bit. There are specific roles for pitchers.
I think the ninth.
There are specific roles.
I think that baseball history has shown that the 9th inning guy is the 9th inning guy.
Oh, I don't. I
when
think
you
in the last
use
20 years it's changed dramatically. There is an 8th inning guy. Every team has an 8th inning guy.
I think that for the most part, except for the fact that when they put Cano in the 7th inning, it's been no problem. He has had no issue going in other circumstances.
That's true.
Because he understands he's the high leverage pitcher on the team. And the high leverage moment is when he pitches. Like, when the game's on the line and there's 2 runners on base and Shohei Ohtani is at the plate. It's the high leverage moment in the baseball game. And why you wouldn't use your high leverage pitcher in that spot is befuddling to me. That the argument is.
Did anyone ask him afterwards?
They asked him about Grayson. They didn't really ask. Nobody asked about Cano. Nobody brought up why not put Cano in that spot. That didn't come up after the game.
Okay.
And it might just be because everybody thinks the way that you do. Well, you wouldn't use Cano there. It's the 4th inning of a baseball game.
I just think it's an awkward spot. I mean, if you would have used him, okay. I just think it's a really weird spot for him. That's all.
I think if the argument is a weird spot for him to have gotten up and started warming up, I can listen to that argument, right?
Well, that's all part of it.
That's
you're now making him get up and throw, however many pitches you would throw to try to get ready, and then what if? And I don't know at what point you get him up. When do you get him up?
I
Wallach
think-
hits the home run, it's 440. You
Right.
get him up right then?
No, I think that you're trying to get out of it then. But then the moment that you have another base runner on at that point, I think you're saying we understand that the game, and you see that Ohtani's coming up. You now know you're going to be facing
Right.
Shohei Ohtani with at least one runner on base. I'd be going to my high leverage guy at that
barn
point.
a double play.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. And that, again,
Okay.
this is all part of the calculus. And that could be the answer if
I can't believe you're doubting Brandon Hyde.
yeah, right. How would I ever? But I don't even hate Brandon Hyde. I'm not that guy.
I don't either.
And Brandon
I'm not
Hyde's
convinced
answer
he's a
might
great
be,
manager, but-
in hindsight, if I knew that was going to be the situation, I absolutely would have used Junior Cano there. But I didn't know that we were going to have, a situation where there are going to be two runners on base and Shohei Ohtani at the plate. And so I wasn't prepared to put someone in the game that wasn't ready for that spot just yet. But
Okay.
man, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. All right, we'll do Would You Rather Wednesday. We'll also talk about the PGA Championship because I know that's the
When
only
is
real
that?
reason. They're doing that again this year. Did you hear that? We'll talk about that.
I got your winner.
I just learned that Tiger Woods isn't playing. I had no idea. I had no clue.
Backed out again.
That's loser. He's just afraid of those guys, I think is what it is. Drew's here. Drew's Morning Dish. As he mentioned, Fairways and Greens will be at 3 o'clock on Sunday.
Yes.
Instead of its normal spot at 12. Reed and I will be on 12 to 3, and then Drew after that starting at 3. How long are you going on Sunday?
Till 5.
So it's not going to be over by then.
They'll be on the 15th, 16th hole in that
Okay.
range. I may talk to Chuck and just say, can I keep going?
Yeah, until
'Cause
it's
I don't
over.
think there's anything else on.
Not until Sunday night. They
Who
just go to the
cares?
network at that point. Yeah. So are you going to do live? Are you just going to do play-by-play? Is that what you're going to do?
I think that's against the rules, but
I'm
I'm gonna
pretty
do
sure you're not supposed
I'm
to.
gonna do it anyway.
Just going to do it anyway,
What are
see
they
what
gonna do?
happens. Yeah, you only work 1 hour a
Right,
week.
what
What
are
are they
they
going to
gonna
fire you?
Right.
Right? Then you'd be fired by every
I don't need
station.
that $250 that bad. I'm going to do
yeah,
it.
you're doing all right
I'm
for you.
gonna
So.
do what I have to do.
Doing all
Well,
right.
Cedric Mullins keeps not hitting.
Cedric Mullins.
Right, you might need that $250.
I do need that
You might need
$250.
it. Today's show also brought to you by PressBoxOnline.com/contest. Right now, you can win 4 tickets to all of the area minor league baseball teams, plus an Easy Pass Maryland on the
Does that
go.
include the Orioles?
No, they're the good one. On Easy Pass
That
Maryland.
used to work.
It did.
That joke used to work.
It did. On the go transponder, preloaded with $25 and a $50 gas card from Royal Farms to help you get around. Must be 18 or older to enter. The sweepstakes ends June 14th. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/contest. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Are you a diehard O's fan looking for the perfect way to show your team spirit? Look no further than Birdland Sports. Birdland Sports is a small business run by fans for fans. They offer a wide variety of unofficial O's merchandise, from the Birds Are Coming tees to player cartoon shirts and more. And the best part? Their prices are more affordable than the big guys. So head to birdlandsports.com and grab your gear today. Show your support for the Birds with Birdland Sports.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the pipeline of talent still to come for the Orioles, diving in on last year's #1 pick Jackson Holiday and other top prospects like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, and more. Also inside, Todd Karpovich profiles Orioles pitcher Kyle Gibson, and Bo Smolka breaks down what progress would mean for the team's 2022 draft picks in their second pro season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What air conditioning company can save 50% of your energy cost and qualify you for up to $7,500 in rebates? A.J. Michaels. We do more, we do it better for less. In Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
If you miss anything on the show, don't forget that you can watch full episodes at youtube.com/pressboxonline, and you can download podcasts on Apple, iTunes, Amazon, and Grindr. Wait, did I say Grindr? I don't think that you would find it on Grindr. Not that I know it's on Grindr or anything, I swear. On second thought, you know what? I don't care what you think. Here's Glenn.
Expert and award-winning A.J. Michaels Heating, Plumbing, AC, and Home Performance will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. AC season is here. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. All right, give me the rundown on what matters this week. Like, what's special about this particular PGA Championship? What I don't feel a whole lot of juice this week.
Yeah, I kind of don't either. I think this is such a weird time. I totally understand what they've done with the schedule. I am definitely an August PGA fan. I always thought part of the nuance of the tournament was the weather. You know, it was always 107 in Southern Hills in Tulsa. Who's going to survive? Like, I always thought the weather was a big part of the story, and it was what was Jim
Do you
Nance's.
say that sort of in the way that, like, everything else there's something special about, like, the
100%.
Masters is the Masters, the U.S. Open is the course is always supposed to be impossible. And
Right, par's your friend.
Correct.
The British Open's totally about the history of the golf
Right.
course and the weather.
Oftentimes the weather, yes.
And the weather, which changes 4 times in one round.
Right. So what is the PGA
and
Championship?
the PGA also is, to borrow Jim Nance's line, Glory's last chance or whatever the hell he called it. Final major of the year. Nothing really going on at that point, right?
Right.
I feel like this week you've got one of, if not the biggest name in sports playing basketball this week, which is occupying a huge part of it.
I mean, you feel that strongly about Jamal Murray, or
You've got another rat fink. If you scored a layup last night, I'd have won $250 in the first bucket of the game. Scumbag. I don't even know who scored the first basket of the game. Look that up for me real quick. What was the first basket of the game? Look 2 things up for me.
yeah?
Did Davis, LeBron, and Jokic all have 5 points in the first quarter?
Well, Jokic definitely did for sure. Right?
Yeah, Jokic did. I think Davis
I assume
did.
they
And look up how the first basket was scored so I can badmouth Jamal Murray. But you got so much going on, right? And you got the horse races.
Yes. Yes.
That I do feel now.
Some people still like hockey.
Yeah. Correct. By the way, this is a really awesome Final Four. This is an awesome Final Four.
I know you're going to say that, but
It is.
with losing all of the top stars.
Doesn't matter.
To you, it doesn't
These
matter.
both are going to go 7 games.
I understand that. I know it doesn't matter to you. It's terrible for the NHL.
But for golf, and I'll use that as an example, like the only people that care about golf are who?
Golf people.
People that care about
Yes.
golf, right. So we'll take it whenever. But I feel like for golf, this event needs to be in August. But I
felt
understand
that
what they're doing.
The moment they
agree.
moved it, I said, "What for? What
But
reason?"
I understand that they're trying to not ever fight with the NFL. I get it.
But the NFL doesn't start until after Labor Day.
But the problem is you play the PGA at the end of August,
Right.
middle of August,
And everybody's
you got the
talking about
FedEx
the
Cup,
NFL.
and
Right.
So anyway, what the story this week is: the golf course, the difficulty of it, how they've they got one hole where there's in course out of bounds, which is almost never happens.
I don't even know what that means.
On the make sure I'm doing this the right way. On the sixth hole, if you hit it in the 7th fairway, it's out of bounds.
Okay.
Or on the 7th hole, if you hit it in the 6th fairway, it's out of bounds. One of the two. If you hit it into the fairway of the other hole, that's deemed out of bounds.
You can't just go play your ball from there.
And they're doing that to stop players from trying to
Take advantage. Yeah, right.
cheat
Like,
the golf course. So it's going to favor it. I think all of the data will eventually play out. It's going to favor the top 20 guys. There's a stat in golf called total driving, which is the combination of how far you hit it and where you're ranked 1 to whatever. Let's say there's 200 players who get ranked. Patrick Cantlay, he's the 10th longest hitter on tour. I'm making that number up, by the way. And then you do the same data for accuracy, how many times you hit it in the fairway. He's 23rd. His total driving number is then 33.
Okay.
Okay?
So it's length.
The average, right.
Right.
So those guys that are in the total driving and there may be a new acronym for or a new phrase for that.
I've been trying to convince Mrs. Clark for a long time that length isn't the only thing that matters.
Yeah, well,
I've been trying to say for a long time.
She told me
like,
you need
hey,
to
look.
see somebody about your length.
Right,
I said,
right.
I don't
Yeah.
know how you do that.
Yeah, look, I've got the accuracy part down. Made 2 kids. I don't really know what your problem is.
So here you go. The total driving stat right now on tour. This says 2021 for some reason, but it's current. They just didn't update their headline, I guess. Total driving stat. Keith Mitchell is number 1.
Former San Francisco Giant.
Cantlay, funny enough, is like top 5. The thing just disappeared off my phone. Anyway, so that stat is really important. If you look up the total, if you wanted to bet this week, go through that list. Most of those guys are all good players anyway. But that stat
Bet
really,
the house on Keith Mitchell is what you're saying.
Keith Mitchell could win for sure. And the odd thing about this event at this golf course is the last 2 times it's been played there, an off-track guy has won. Sean McKeel won. Jason Duffner won. Now, Duffner was...
Yeah, certainly
Duffner
far more
was,
of a golfer than Sean McKeel was.
Right. Duffner was Keith Mitchell.
Right.
Frankly, they're a very, very good comparison. So that matters. And then the one thing that also really matters is your ability to hit the green from 175 to 200. Because and there's a stat for that. You're going to have a lot of those shots. You're going to have 4 or 5 of them per round in the 170 to 200 range, which most PGA Tour players, 170 and in, they pretty much perceive as an easy shot.
Okay.
Anything that starts to get 180, 190, you miss the club face by a quarter of an inch, and you're 7 yards off the green. So I think it favors the guys who hit it the furthest and the straightest. Definitely favors. If somebody like Colin Morikawa, who has been terrible for the last year, if someone like Morikawa were playing better, even without a win, he'd be almost a lock to wager on this week. But he's played so poorly, and this is probably the week he wins. He's played so poorly that you can't wager on him. I think Cantlay's going to win.
Okay. Is there a storyline-wise, is Rahm the best story that could come out of it? I guess McIlroy would always be the best story.
The 3 biggest storylines are, the number 1 storyline without question is Jordan Spieth, because if he wins, he completes a career Grand Slam.
Okay.
He is by far the number 1 story. I think the golf course is way too long for him.
Okay, let me separate that. Within golf, I think that's a big story. Do you think that matters to the casual fan, Jordan Spieth winning a tournament, or have we kind of moved on from Jordan Spieth's relevance?
I think it's the biggest story by far.
Okay.
It's the career Grand Slam.
I hear you. I understand that. I feel like the casual observer has kind of moved on from Jordan Spieth, and it would be more like a anomaly at this point. Like, oh, okay, that's neat, but I just don't know that it's going to get people to care
Here's what I
about.
would say about Rahm. If he could win this week, he would have a legitimate chance to win the Grand Slam this year.
Okay.
Because he could go to L.A. Country Club and win.
Right.
He's won a lot in California. He putts all those Poe greens great. So the biggest storyline would be that if Rahm were to somehow win this week, I think the single-season Grand Slam is definitely
that sounds
attainable.
Way more significant to me as far as the casual person having a reason to care, right? Like the guy who's definitely the best golfer in the world at the moment has an opportunity to do something historic. You have to tune in to watch that once you get to the U.S. Open.
Right.
That's
so
really significant.
I think that's a big one. And I would say because of what's happened to him golf-wise in the last 3 months and – a little bit of the news he's making this week with like, hey, I'm done talking about LIV, and I'm tired of being a PGA Tour ambassador. I just want to go back to playing golf. I think McIlroy is a big story. I think Rory very quietly is on the cusp of a Tiger-like disappearance when it comes to the majors.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger went from 2008, now in 2009 he had a great chance and somehow lost to Y.E. Yang. But from 2010 till he won, now he did have a couple chances. He could have won the British Open the year Molinari won it. He wasn't out of it. But from 10 until 19,
He was largely a non-factor.
He was a non-factor.
Right.
And Rory has done the same thing since 2014. He's largely been a non-factor. He's had some chances, but he hasn't won.
So
I think he's a big story.
But yet he's still considered by most to be kind of the face of golf at the moment. In part because
Tiger's
he was
always the face, but Rory
of guys that are actually
as an
playing.
active player.
Right, correct.
Rory is still. I would say it is Rory for sure. But I don't want to say that he gets treated with kid gloves. I think that's unfair because then it sounds like he's being intentionally pacified. But he doesn't get a lot of scrutiny for his level, for his subpar play when it really matters.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I
Like
hear you.
the one thing about Tiger was because Tiger made the cut in 142 straight tournaments, and when Tiger didn't play well, it was a massive story.
Right. Well, but he's not. But nobody's ever Tiger. I mean, Tiger was supposed to be
But Rory,
the context for Tiger was he was supposed to surpass Jack Nicklaus by he was supposed to lap him at some point. You know, like
yeah. I mean, maybe by the time he was 35, he would have, right?
Right.
If not for
right. I hear you.
I'm of the belief. I know a lot of people counter-argue this about his injuries. I'm really of the belief, personally, because Tiger's injuries didn't really start rearing their head until like 12, 13. I'm of the belief, because Tiger was still at his zenith in 8, 9, 10, 11, because he won 4 or 5 times in 11 and 12. He just didn't win majors. I'm of the belief that what really wrecked Tiger were his personal issues.
Sure.
I really believe that.
I don't doubt that.
I think the injuries certainly have contributed to it.
Right.
But I think without the
think
personal
the
problems,
injuries
he'd have had 18.
I think the injuries prevented him from being able to have a comeback.
But he would have had 18 by
Right.
12. I think that those personal issues wrecked him for 4 years.
I get it. I completely understand that.
And so Rory won 4 times in 3 years.
Right.
And looked like by 2018 he might have 8. Right? So if he has 8 at 30,
Well, then it's a very relevant conversation. Of
Sure.
course. Yes.
he still has 4.
Yeah. Correct. Never won one
It's
since.
the
then.
same amount as Brooks Koepka.
But he did win the
But if you
the
said to
playoffs, and
everybody, if you said to everyone who's the better golfer, McIlroy or Koepka, everyone would say
yeah, of
zero
course.
chance. No argument. It's weird. So Rory's a big story this week, to me,
I get it.
because I think he's got to win one again sometime soon.
In order to justify the fact that he's still treated like he
Right.
is correct. I understand that. I understand that entirely. All right.
So I'm going with Patrick Cantlay.
Gets underway tomorrow, and he'll be talking about it on Sunday on 105.7 The Fan. Let's play Would You Rather Wednesday. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Birdland Sports. They've got a new Mr. Splash t-shirt available right now, birdlandsports.com. If you're enjoying the bird bath, you should check it out. And you could win it just by participating in Would You Rather Wednesday today at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. Get in with your responses, and you'll be registered to win a free shirt of your choice from Birdland Sports. Would you rather number 1, as we alluded to, Grayson Rodriguez indeed makes his next start as scheduled, which would be in Toronto this weekend, or maybe now would be a good time for him to make a trip to the IL, skip a few starts, and let DL Hall have his crack at the rotation. DL Hall, by the way, for the record, pitched last night but was pulled after 3 innings, which was explained by a few Orioles beat writers as being sort of like their load management plan for DL Hall. Like that had been predetermined that he was only going to pitch 3 innings last night. There was no injury issue. There was no anything. But presumably would make him available, wouldn't need quite the same turnaround wouldn't need a full 5 days in order to be ready to go again.
Who's Rodriguez's next start against?
It would be Toronto this weekend.
Where's that?
In Toronto. Yeah.
What's the total in that?
I haven't looked yet. I believe it would be Saturday, so I have
What's
not.
the betting total?
Right.
To take the
You
top?
take the over.
Grychuk's not there anymore, so knock 2
Did you
runs
say
off.
Gladchuk?
Grychuk or Grichuk or whatever his name is.
Grichuk.
Knock 2 runs off of that.
Right.
Because
That's
he
true.
was going to score 2.
Well, and Pilar was all
right.
Got that out of the way last week.
Yeah.
I think I would say we're going to let him make. What's he made? 9 starts so far?
I believe 8.
He made
Is
8.
it 8? I think it's 8.
Sounds right.
Because 4 have been really bad. 4 have been solid.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Mm. And by the way, it is 8 starts for Grayson Rodriguez.
I think you don't want to say this to him because that I just don't know that you want to say it to him and put that kind of heat on him. But I think internally, I would say we're going to let him make 2 more starts. We're going to see how that'll take us to Memorial Day, ish. We'll see how that goes. I kind of had said all along, you got to same thing with Gunnar Henderson. You got to give him to Memorial Day. You got to give him 2 full months. That's different with Henderson. He's playing every day and he's hitting a $184. I would give Rodriguez 2 more starts and then I would evaluate it. And I wouldn't be opposed to saying to him, hey, you need to go down to Norfolk and you got to get some people out.
So that
Or Bowie.
again,
either one.
in 2 starts, I'll listen to that. This is why I think these are 2 separate conversations. Because I think that saying, hey, we're going to have to do something about this at some point anyway.
You got to get people out.
Well, I'm saying there was always going to have to be some sort of Grayson Rodriguez solution.
Because he can't pitch all year.
Correct.
I wrote about this last week. We talked about this before. What do you do with him? Do you just pitch him until his arm falls off in August?
Right.
Or do you now say to him, hey, why don't you go to Norfolk and pitch, I'll make the number up, 10 innings in the next 40 days?
Right.
I'm just making that up. That might be stupid. 10 innings in the next 30 days.
But
we'll bring you back here after the All-Star break and resume your season.
I think that's a tough sell. I think that's a really tough sell.
Tough sell on who?
On Grayson.
Well, you run the team.
I understand
Tell
that.
him what you want to
I'm
do.
saying this presents you an opportunity to say,
It would be
look,
different if we were getting people out.
I get it. We can do 2 things here. 1, we have to deal with this eventually anyway. So this can help us in dealing with it. 2, we can make up an injury that can be the explanation for why you had your worst start. This presents you the opportunity to say, it's not nearly as bad as you guys think it was. I had a shoulder problem that
I had a
night.
bruise.
Right, correct.
Bruised ego.
That's exactly. That's what you would say out loud. You would just announce that to everybody.
Bruised ego. 15-day disablement.
You get to protect why it is that you're not going to be pitching for a little while, and why you got your butt kicked the last time out, and we were going to have to do something eventually anyway. So we're just timing it out right now. We're not telling you out of the rotation. We're just taking a timeout because we're going to have to deal with this at some point anyway. Let's go ahead and deal with it now. And it's going to require you afterwards to go throw an inning in Norfolk and before we let you make your start after that, so that we pretended like you had in a rehab appearance. But this is all it really is.
He'd probably say rehab's for quitters.
Correct. That's exactly what he would say.
I'm not going down there.
They tried to make me go to rehab, and I said, maybe I should. Maybe that's a good idea for me, and I should consider it. I wish Amy would.
I would give him 2 more starts, see how it flushes out.
The other
who was it after Toronto, or what would his next start be? It would be 2 teams later.
Because they don't play a 4-game series next week. You're right, and I can't even remember who it is now off the top of my head.
But anyway,
is it Kansas City again?
Oh well, that doesn't count. They were going to let me start that game.
No, it's the Yankees.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
At New York.
Okay, so there you go. So
wait a second.
but
Wait.
actually, he
No,
wouldn't-
he
he
wouldn't
wouldn't be
because it's a
scheduled.
3-game
Yeah.
series. So he wouldn't start in that series. He would start on Friday night against the Rangers at home.
Okay, well they can hit.
They can.
So okay, well there you go then. So that's the Friday before Memorial Day.
Yes.
Okay, so it's perfect. Hey, happy Memorial Day. See you in Norfolk. You give them these 2 starts, and they're against 2 good offensive teams, and one's a team you already beat, and one's away with a very good offense. It'll give you a nice little composite on him after 10
Does it
starts.
do anything worse if he gets his brain beaten in the next 2 games? Does it make this problem worse?
What problem? That he can't get anybody out?
Yeah, and whatever that does to him mentally, whatever that does to him as far as his ability to try to figure it out at some point this season, does that problem get worse if he makes 2 more brutal starts?
Nah. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think these guys, look, doesn't really matter if they've been in the big leagues 2 years or 10 years. I say this all the time, like in terms of golf. The most important thing about a golfer, a tournament golfer, which my high school kids are tournament golfers, the number 1 trait you have to have is you have to have the ability to be honest with yourself. To not listen to what your parents tell you, to not listen to what your friends tell you, to not listen to what the 2 old guys that you teamed up with on the 5th hole tell you about how good you are or not. You got to be honest with yourself. It's not easy sometimes for high school golfers to be honest with themselves because they're under an immense amount of pressure to live up to their billing, right? I think these kids are pretty – I think they get it. Like, they know. Rodriguez knows. He doesn't have – he knows.
I get it.
He's
Right.
dominated at every level of baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you go back and look at
For the
Grayson
most part,
Rodriguez in
yes.
high school,
Right.
nobody could get a hit off
Yep.
on him.
He never pitched in college. He never pitched in
right.
college.
He'd be the anomaly there. But
Right.
in the minors, he toyed with people. And so this is probably, I may be wrong on this, but it's probably the first time he's ever gone 2 months and been battered. So he knows it. The question is, how is he dealing with it? And I don't know what happens at that level. I don't know if Brandon Hyde texts him after the game
Right,
and
says,
says,
"Hey,
keep
let's-"
your head up.
Right.
I don't know if we're on the road.
Somebody wanders over. Chris
Kyle
Holt.
Gibson says, hey, let's
Okay.
get coffee tomorrow morning. Like, I
Or
know
if, you
what
ju- or if the deal is just pretend like it's not happening.
Like, I had 3 kids yesterday tried out for the Maryland Amateur. One of them played very, very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Way out of his
I heard he blamed coaching.
Yeah. Way,
I heard he said,
way out of his
I would have
ballpark.
been fine if not for.
And I sent him a text last night, and I said, hey, in those events, when you're trying to qualify for something, and they take the top 20 guys, there's a number that cuts it off, right? It's called the cut. In those events, you either make the cut or you don't. And if the cut's 76 and you shoot 77, it's just like shooting 87.
Mhm.
It's the exact same thing. You didn't make it.
Right.
That's it. You went there to make it. You didn't make it. And you could have easily, if you shot 77, you probably feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
You shot 87.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you
was your
weren't
day.
correct.
So I do that. And
But
I'm
to your
saying,
point,
I don't know if that happens in the big leagues.
I don't. It's certainly, and it's funny because it's something I never really talked about with baseball players. I talk about it all the time with football players, and essentially the football players say we just don't talk about it. Like they know. They don't need me to come over and say something. I don't
and
need
that's
to
sort
go.
of what I think about him.
Right.
I don't think it's. I don't think he went into the dugout. I don't think in the locker room the other night they came up to him and snickered and laughed about the home run that Ohtani hit. I don't, because it might have been too sensitive.
Mhm.
But I also think he knows. Like, he's got an iPad.
Yep.
He looks at it. He goes, I don't know why I threw that pitch.
Yep.
Like, so I think you put him back out there for 2 more starts. He's going to know when Brandon Hyde says, hey, can you come in the office on that Saturday morning after they lose 11-5 to the Rangers because he gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. He's going to know.
I do wonder if there isn't, like, if this presents an opportunity to not have to have it be the indignity of being sent down.
I just don't think that matters. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, I think that he knows. I think he's going to the
Right.
mound against Toronto saying to himself,
Yeah, I'm probably pitching
if
for my
I
job.
don't
Right.
pitch well today, I might get sent down. Now, you could definitely make the argument that could factor into his performance.
By the way, I assume that's what happened to Dean Kramer 3 starts ago. The Dean Kramer went out against Atlanta, assuming this is probably I'm probably pitching for my job, and now all of a sudden
Maybe.
he's the top of the rotation. Now all of a sudden
Maybe.
he's their best pitcher. Well, I guess Tyler Wells is their best pitcher, but he's their second best pitcher at the moment.
I just don't think at the big league level. I think when Lamar doesn't have a great game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think John has to.
No, I don't think so either. But
It's different there
yeah,
because
it's
Lamar's
vastly different.
Lamar's
right.
use
Yes.
a rookie. If Zay Flowers doesn't catch
Yeah,
a
but
touchdown,
even that's unfair because you're not. There's no penalty for it. It's very unique in baseball where
Yeah.
you can be sent down
Yeah,
at
you're
this
right.
point.
You're right.
There's no
you're right.
similarity to
You're
it.
right.
It would be more like a 4th round pick that gets the opportunity and steps in and plays, but knows that they might not.
If I
get-
don't play, I'm going to not be in the starting
when
46.
when
next week or
Deshaun
whatever.
Elliott first got the opportunity to
Right.
play,
No, you're right.
he knew if he didn't play well, he wasn't going to get the opportunity again a week later.
Right.
Like they just were going to go look somewhere else. Say we'll find somebody else to be Deshaun Elliott. All right, Griffin and I will come back to that topic. Number 2, would you? rather-
By the way, did Gavin Sheets hit his home run last night off of Shane Bieber?
I don't know if it was off of Bieber. I didn't. I got to be honest. I didn't pay attention. I'll put Griffin on that. You figure that answer. Number 2. Would you rather?
Find out because I want to send him a text real quick.
You got to bet everything you have.
Yes.
I know. I know.
Yes.
Everything you have on the Warriors winning one more title.
By the way, that was a pretty telling, interesting maybe more for me as a coach, very, very interesting press conference that Steve Kerr had the other
I
night.
thought it was too. That's part of the reason why I'm asking the question.
Very interesting.
It was off of Bieber.
There you go.
Yes,
There you go.
yes.
Would you rather bet everything you have, which is weird because I hear Gavin Sheets loves Bieber. He's a believer, I believe is what they said about.
2 outs, 2.
Bet everything you have on the Warriors winning one more title with this core group, or similar odds, bet everything you have on the Spurs winning a title, now with Wembanyama, and up to 6 first-round picks over the next 2 years as well. But they've got to win that title in the next 7 seasons.
Oh,
How did they get all those picks, by the way?
By getting rid of all of their players.
Kawhi
Yeah,
and-
DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
Like they just got rid of everybody, and they acquired 6
Well,
now.
they
Again,
need
some of
help
those
for
picks,
Robinson.
some of those picks are protected in certain ways, so I don't know
Right.
that they'll get all of them, but they're gonna get. They need some help from Robinson.
They need some help for Robinson.
For Robinson,
Yeah.
for David
The
Robinson,
Admiral,
yeah, the
yeah.
Admiral. You know, there are only 4. I gave this to Griffin yesterday. In the draft lottery era,
Okay.
there are only 4.
1988.
85. Is that what we figured out it was? I think we figured it was 85.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are only 4 players to have won a title
Okay.
with the team that drafted them number 1 overall.
Okay. And he's one.
David Robinson is one.
Right.
That was the one that Griffin struggled with the most.
It was.
Okay. Won a title with the
Team
team
that
that drafted them
number
number
one.
1
Yes.
overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to speed this up a little bit, they
Okay.
came from a total of 2 teams.
Oh, okay. LeBron.
LeBron, of course, had to come back in order to do it.
Right. LeBron.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just trying to go through who's
So you now know they're all either Spurs or Cavaliers because they came from a total of 2 teams.
Oh, they
so-
got to be Spurs or Cavaliers.
Or Cavaliers,
Right,
yes,
so Tim
because I
Dun-
said
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be all that hard.
See, this was difficult. You were
I don't
giving me
know
a
why
hard
this one
time.
is tough.
I think
Well,
this is the
yeah.
coffee
He's
getting.
he's
to
got
me.
it right in front of him. He
Yeah,
knows the
yeah.
Cavaliers only won 1 title. So it had to be somebody that was on the title team.
I'm thinking, but that's
Who
what,
is the only other number 1 pick that was on that Cavaliers title? Who won them the title that year that we all credit to LeBron?
Iman Shumpert?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Iman Shumpert, who's on some reality show or
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Kyrie Irving,
Oh,
you
Kyrie
heard of
Irving.
him?
I forgot he.
Yeah.
I totally forgot he was on the team.
Yeah.
So I won. I beat Drew.
Well, not really.
No,
but
that's NBA.
Yeah,
Hell.
yeah. Do you know who the 3 wealthiest active athletes in the world are? The 3 richest active athletes in the world, according to Forbes.
He's got to be one of them.
No, they're all soccer players.
Oh,
Footballers.
Yes.
Messi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Messi. Wealthiest soccer.
Jamie Tart.
Yeah.
Beckham,
right.
maybe. I
Zama.
was going to say Roy Keane.
No, active athletes.
Oh,
I said.
active
Yeah,
athletes.
because we were struggling with that. Active athletes.
Beckham.
All
No,
soccer players.
Messi. Can't be Mbappe, right?
It is indeed Kylian
Is it
Mbappe.
Really?
We were between him and another
20 years
guy. We
old.
went with Mbappe, and I'm grateful that we did.
Modric.
No. I can't believe. I really can't believe that you got Mbappe and you missed Cristiano Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Like, I mean, I don't
he
really
hadn't
know
been
what
active in
happened
4 years, in my
there.
opinion.
I was between Mbappe
Okay.
and Zlatan. Was what we were
Okay.
struggling with is which way we should go.
Okay.
So we
Zava.
basically yes. We in fact had that conversation. at
That
the
was a
table.
weird bit. By the way, last week might have been the top 5 show they've ever
I
had.
thought it was very good. I did think it was very good.
I'm not. I say this. Make sure I say this the right way because it's going to sound terrible. I haven't been a huge fan of this gay angle, but I thought they really did a nice job that last week.
I thought they did largely an excellent job.
I thought, and I still think there's something going. I think there's something else to happen there with the captain.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think so.
I
I
don't
don't.
think so
I
either.
don't think so.
I don't think
I
so.
think that's done now.
No, you
I
think
that's done now.
Just
I do.
the fact they became friends.
Yeah, I think that was
They
was
played
to
football
create
together,
that scene.
Played video together.
Right. I think that was the point of it. Like, I love you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the awkward.
I think they.
I-
I think that. I think last week was a really good episode.
I thought it was a very good episode too.
And you can feel this
it also. It keeps
crescendo
pushing.
coming.
I keep trying to tell you that this is all going to end with Nate as the coach at Richmond. I've been telling you that for some time. Like,
I like to
before the
punch him in the
season
face,
began.
though.
I understand that, but I told you before the season the story was going to end up being a Nate redemption story.
I'll tell you
was
what
where
his
it was
redemption
going.
story is, that girl he snagged.
There's no doubt about that. There is no question about it. All right, quickly, number 3. Oh, no, you never answered
Yeah,
this
what
one.
was 2?
Would you rather bet everything on the Warriors to win another title with this group, or the Spurs winning a title with Wembanyama over the next 7 years?
It's easy.
I don't even know who Wendy Yama is.
Yes, Wembanyama. Oh, Wembanyama. She and Peter Pan out there.
I think that Kerr pretty much told you the other day, like, this needs to be dismantled. Or someone needs to go, and we all know who that is.
Yeah, well.
I think the Spurs will win one in 7 years.
All right, very good. And number 3, would you rather? Are you familiar?
I can't believe Steve Kerr came out and said that.
I hear you. Are you familiar with the D-bag that catches all the home runs that caught
Oh, yeah.
Cedric
He
Mullins?
was here the other night.
Yes.
Yep.
Would you rather a baseball
Punch
fair,
him in the face
a baseball
or
fair,
punch him in
stop.
the...
A baseball fair has offered you the opportunity to rewrite baseball
How does
history.
he do that, by the way?
What?
How does he catch him?
I don't know.
Who
That's what I
cares?
was. It was.
How does he catch him?
I was like,
This baseball fair will allow you to either make it so you can rewrite history, and Chris Davis retires after the 2016 season, or that guy never picks up a glove.
Wait a minute. Say it again.
Baseball fair has offered you the opportunity to rewrite baseball history
Okay.
by either having Chris Davis retire after the 2016 season, or making it so that D-bag never picked up a baseball glove.
That guy is so annoying.
He's the worst. I won't even say his name.
He's not. He's
I
the second
refuse
worst
to.
thing in baseball.
What's the worst?
Oh,
the
you know
Angels
what
not
the
being good.
no, you know what the worst in baseball
worst
is.
is.
Right now, today,
The worst.
there is something way worse than that guy.
something worse.
pitch
than that
clock?
guy?
Nope.
No.
I like that, actually. I can't believe I'm even saying that. There's something way worse.
Well, the extra inning rule is the best thing in baseball.
It's
so
not that.
I don't know. All right, tell me.
The freaking umpires.
Oh, you know what? God, the guy last night sucked. The
These
guy behind.
guys that throw these people out of the
Right.
games should all be punched into jewels.
Well, except for the guy that threw Domingo Herman out of the game. He
But
should be
that's
given a raise.
different.
Yeah,
That's a rules thing.
I understand.
This
I know. I know.
whole thing
I know.
that you're not allowed to look at them sideways.
I get it.
Drives me insane.
I understand. All right. What about the fight over the third base coach last? God, it was amazing.
It's
It was
unreal.
amazing. Oh, it was my favorite thing
Baseball's got to be. I know all these sports. I don't know much about basketball. I know enough about hockey. I know hockey's got some weird quirks about you not hitting the other team's best player.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hit the other team's best player, there's this unwritten rule, like you don't cheap shot Ovechkin.
Right.
Because if you do,
Yeah. Then we got 100%. That's
then I got to come and cheap shot you.
Right.
So when Ovechkin gets cheap shotted, Crosby comes to the bench and says, "What are you guys doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And they say, "Don't be such a
Right.
P.
Right.
Go
Yeah,
go
yeah,
get hit."
That's the way it goes. Yes.
So all these sports have quirks. Baseball has got to be the craziest, quirkiest, childish sport in the world.
Well, I've said that for a very long time.
It's
It's man babies.
unreal.
It's absurd.
It's unreal.
But the umpiring is.
Did you see what happened the other night with the ball? The ball got rolled out and it nicked the guy that came in that got in trouble for Ohtani but got out of it.
what was his name?
Not Dickerson.
Davinsky.
Davinsky.
Yeah.
They threw the ball out and the ball nicked his foot.
Oh, okay.
And he stood there with his arms out like they just stole his car.
In spring training, JT Realmuto got ejected from a game in spring training because he was catching. There was a foul ball, so he put his glove back to get the ball
This
from
was
the
the
umpire.
worst. This is the one that got me started.
Right.
Yeah,
You didn't see this?
And
No.
so the umpire he was looking at Craig Kimbrell.
It
who was
happened 2
pitching.
times.
Yeah. And Kimbrell looked up with his glove because the umpire had thrown it out to him before, but this time he was getting ready to put it in Realmuto's glove. But Realmuto was looking at Kimbrell. Ball wasn't in his glove, so he just put his glove down. So the ump tried to throw it in his glove, and he moved his glove, so it just went on the ground, and he threw Realmuto out.
He threw him out of the game. In spring training.
It was unreal.
But that's the
It was
second
unreal.
worst thing that happened all year. The worst one, by far, is the Castellanos one when he touched his bat on the ground to show where he thought the pitch was. It made a hole in the ground that big, a
Yep.
dent in the dirt,
Yep.
and he threw him out of the game.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And that guy should never be thrown out.
Well, hang on. Them giving a strike to what's-his-face when he went back to L.A., that was the worst.
Oh, Bellinger.
When he
Oh
went
my
back to
gosh.
L.A. for the first time.
No doubt.
And they give him a standing ovation.
No doubt.
And say,
He stood
hey,
out.
good to see you, bud. Strike one.
They're the worst. These
Stink.
umpires all deserve to get
Stink.
punched before the game starts.
Okay, but that's
There
not.
should-
I'm not giving you that option.
The
here.
little guy with the Angels that they
Right.
rode around the cart
Uh-huh.
the other night, the little man
Yeah.
that was at the stadium.
Yeah, AJ
He
Rodriguez.
should get to punch those people
I'm
in
not.
the face.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. What's the answer?
We saw him in the thing, and Ethan's like, "That's the little man." I'm
Yeah.
like, Ethan, what the
You're,
hell's
you're not.
wrong
Yeah,
with-"
you're not supposed to say that. That's what he goes by. Yes, he
Right.
goes by little man. You're good. Correct. Ethan was
He
all
had
right
a
on
guard
this
with
one.
him and everything.
Well, he's become quite the celebrity. This has been a very fruitful thing
It's
for
incredible,
him.
right? What a great country.
Is I like that guy.
It's going to get fixed
There's
in 2 years.
Oh yeah, is it?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it gonna get
He's
fixed?
coming back for a return tour. And here's the thing.
Oh, there's a
It's-
chance. There's
It's
really a chance.
But here's the thing. It's going to be better than the first
Oh, is it?
five.
Is it going to be better than the best? Is yet to come.
It's going to be better than the first
What's your
five.
answer? Get rid of the guy or
Who are we getting rid of?
Chris Davis or
Oh.
the home run guy?
I would say whatever we could do to make Chris Davis better.
No. He's just retiring after 2016. So the
Let him-
Orioles aren't on the hook for the money.
Let him
They
retire.
get-
in
oh,
peace.
so you're keeping the home run guy?
Oh, no. I want the home run guy out.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Let Chris Davis suffer.
All right, very good.
That
you'll
guy's
be,
the worst, man.
You'll be on at 3 on Sunday.
Punch that guy in the face.
I don't disagree with you. He's
How
terrible.
does he catch all these baseballs?
Who cares? It's terrible. You'll be on at 3 on Sunday.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Fairways and Greens, 105.7 The Fan, for live coverage of the PGA Championship, where he'll just basically be doing play-by-play the entire time.
Pretty close.
Drew'sMorningDish.com, at It's a Hooded 4-Iron on Twitter. Those are all the ways that you can follow him. Appreciate you stopping by to say hello this morning.
Oh, am I done? Okay.
Well, I mean, if you'd like to stick around, we'll invite you to stick around, but we have, like, guests scheduled, and you'd have to do...
Because then I got to act like I know what I'm
That's
talking
the
about.
point. Like, you'd have to do the show.
No.
And that's, I've
Nope,
always
nope,
found
nope.
to be tricky for you.
No, I'm good.
Still to come this morning, Colton Cowser is going to join us. Also...
Overrated.
Oh yeah, that's what you're. And Brett Phillips, former Oriole, now with the Angels, is going to check in with us as well. That's all on the way as we continue on a Would You Rather Wednesday. And don't forget, get your responses in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. Somebody's winning a free shirt from Birdland Sports, birdlandsports.com. It's a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Are you a diehard O's fan looking for the perfect way to show your team spirit? Look no further than Birdland Sports. Birdland Sports is a small business run by fans for fans. They offer a wide variety of unofficial O's merchandise, from the Birds Are Coming tees to player cartoon shirts and more. And the best part? Their prices are more affordable than the big guys. So head to birdlandsports.com and grab your gear today. Show your support for the Birds with Birdland Sports.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the pipeline of talent still to come for the Orioles, diving in on last year's #1 pick Jackson Holiday and other top prospects like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, and more. Also inside, Todd Karpovich profiles Orioles pitcher Kyle Gibson, and Bo Smolka breaks down what progress would mean for the team's 2022 draft picks in their second pro season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What air conditioning company can save 50% of your energy cost and qualify you for up to $7,500 in rebates? A.J. Michaels. We do more, we do it better for less. In Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
If you miss anything on the show, don't forget that you can watch full episodes at youtube.com/pressboxonline, and you can download podcasts on Apple, iTunes, Amazon, and Grindr. Wait, did I say Grindr? I don't think that you would find it on Grindr. Not that I know it's on Grindr or anything, I swear. On second thought, you know what? I don't care what you think. Here's Glenn.
Get 5 second-chance bets from PointsBet when you deposit and bet your first $50, but only by using the link at PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/offers is the link that you use in order to claim that incentive and much more for betting. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/offers. All right, it is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of GCR. As I mentioned, continue to get me your responses, and we will hook one of you up. I will re-rack them as well. And as always, you get 24 hours in order to get your responses in. So, again, at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio, the ways to go about doing it. That said, it is time for us to make our trip down to Norfolk to chat with a member of the Tides. And this man, I don't think he's going to be a Tide for that much longer because he continues to just absolutely scorch the ball this season. He is Orioles' top prospect, Colton Cowser, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Colton, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning.
Thank you all for having me.
It's great to talk to you again, dude. I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, do you almost get nervous when you have conversations about how well you're performing because you don't want to jinx it at all?
Not really. You know,
Okay.
I'm just trying to go out there, handle my business. You know,
I hear you.
so you know,
What has
just trying to continue to play well.
I get it. What has felt the best this season? Like, dude, you know, in the last like 10 days, you're hitting something like 500. Like, what has felt the best to you this year? What do you think maybe has even improved in your game from what was already obviously a very high standard?
You know, I think that you know, I think I'm continuing to swing at good pitches, and I think that's continuing to improve, and you know, understanding my strike zone awareness, and you know, understanding what pitches I can drive and which ones I can't. So I think that it's you know, a little combination of both.
Is there a way for you to, as you're doing it at the AAA level, a lot of times we talk about, hey, the point of AAA is that you're facing guys that are major league pitchers, right? Was there a point where it clicked for you, like, okay, now I know I'm ready. Now I know that whenever that call does come, and I get that's beyond your control, but whenever it comes, I have done the things that I know I need to do to feel like I confidently can make the transition to hitting major league pitching.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if I think it might be something that just kind of happens, I guess you could say. But I think right now, you know, the big thing is just to continue to excel at the level I'm at right now, and then continue to do whatever I can do to help the team win. And, you know, we've been winning a lot of games here with the Tides, and it's been a lot of fun. So, you know, there really hasn't been too much pressure to contribute to the team here. You know, I think that it's just kind of coming naturally. And, you know, hitting's been kind of contagious throughout our lineup. So it's easy knowing that whenever it's not easy. It's, you know, it makes you a little bit more relaxed when you know that there's other guys in the lineup that can pick you up if you struggle. And if you are contributing well, then, you know, you're going to be, you know, helping the team win.
That one last night was a little bit of fun, huh?
Yeah, last night was fun.
Yeah, that was okay.
You know, like I said, 1 through 9 were pretty dangerous. So.
Yeah, Daz Cameron hit the big home run last night for the Tides on a walk-off win. An exciting night at Norfolk. Of course, Colton Cowser is with us here on GCR. The Tides are home all this week, so if you're headed down that way this weekend, some great giveaways, including a Tidewater Tides retro trucker hat giveaway on Friday, plus fireworks, and Mookie Wilson making an appearance, who was once upon a time a Norfolk Tide, of course, a World Series champ with the Mets. All that going on this weekend with the Norfolk Tides. Colton, I wonder for you, like, as you've succeeded so much at every level, is there something that you would still say, hey, but even as much success as I'm having, I still feel like I could do this better? Is there anything that's still left on your own, like, internal checklist of things that you would wanted to do before you got to the bigs?
Yeah, you know, I think that there's always things you can improve on. You know, I think you can always improve out there on defense. You can always improve, you know, definitely at the plate. I think that, you know, having a fluid mindset and a fluid approach at the plate, being able to adapt to certain situations, and understanding, your role in certain situations. That's something you can always improve on. And I think that's why we play minor league baseball, to continue to mature, as a baseball player. And I think those two things right there are something you can always improve on.
I get it. It seems like you're doing it pretty well from afar, right? Like, it seems like that's happening at a pretty high level. Colton, the excitement that you have felt. You mentioned it's fun to be at the ballpark. All the talent that's around you. It's insane, right? The season the Jordans had. I mean, it's just nuts what you're around. Have you really started to feel like a bit of an itch for there? I know that when you arrived, you could start to see what was coming, but how it's unfolded and to be on the cusp of it and to see what's happening at the big league level and the guys that you're going to be around, has it created an additional level of, oh my God, this is really happening the way that we all thought that it might, and there's a genuine chance that I'm about to arrive for a team that's going to compete for a World Series?
I think that's a good question. I think that, I think it's something that the Orioles and the organization has kind of instilled upon us, that winning culture. And I think that they've preached, we're going to be there eventually, but continue to keep your head down, keep working. And, I'm not surprised a little bit, just because you could tell last year, big league clubs started winning a little bit, and then this year they've been off to a great start. And I think that's kind of trickled down into AAA as well. And it kind of makes you realize that everyone here in AAA has to be ready, because you got to be able to go up there and contribute.
Colton,
so,
no, I completely get that. Colton, I guess I would add to it, right? Like, is there an amount of pressure that now comes along with that, right? Like, you're not just getting up by default. You're getting up because there's a belief that you can help a team win. Is there an amount of pressure that comes along with that whenever you get the call?
Yeah, I don't think I can really attest to that right now, just because I haven't gotten that call or anything like that. But, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of pressure. But, again, I think that that's when you just kind of have to rely on the work that you've put in and be able to trust your ability, and that the organization believes in you, that you're able to go up there and contribute and help a team win. So I think that, you just kind of got to go out there and still continue to play your game. Just because the lights are a little bit brighter, you just got to be able to calm yourself down, All
right, so we got to talk about the part of your game. It's a huge disappointment, Colton. And I don't know if you want to offer an apology to everybody, but only 3 hit by pitches this season. I mean, what the hell's going on, dude? Like, what happened there? You were going to set all the records. You're going to be the greatest hit by pitch artist in baseball history. I feel like you've really let everybody down. Are you willing to apologize for that this season?
Yeah, I think that I kind of passed the torch over to Hudson Haskin there for a little bit. He got off to a great start when it came to hit by pitches, I think. But yeah, I honestly haven't even thought about that. I've been hit by a couple pitches, I guess, this year, but it's early. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen?
That could change at some point.
I like to try to get out of the. Try to get out of the way.
I'm guessing you're more than willing to take the trade-off of improving your on-base percentage by 60 points while also not being hit by a pitch 18 times during the course of this season. I'm guessing that's a trade-off that you're willing to take. It's funny because I think a lot of people talk about, you played so much center field. I know you played a little bit of left this season. I know you played a little bit in the other sides. Have you been spending more time working on that? Because I know part of it is, like, right now, the guy that's playing center field for the Orioles is a hell of a baseball player. I don't know how this is going to work. Have you been spending more time, even if you're not playing there, maybe working at some of the other outfield spots just to get more of a feel and be ready for whatever it is that you're asked to do when you get to the bigs?
Yeah, of course. I whether it's BP or whether it's, just getting certain reads like that, it's good to have that versatility. Growing up, I played corner outfield, and then as I started to develop a little bit of speed, I moved over to center field. So, I'm used to playing the corners, used to playing center field now. So again, there's just a little bit of different things that goes on in the corners that doesn't really happen in center, but it's not too crazy of an adjustment.
Would you feel comfortable if, and again, I all the guys, I'm not trying to take anybody's job away. I want to make that abundantly clear because Austin Hayes has been great, Anthony Santander is great. But if the call came and there was an injury or something like that and somebody said, hey, we need you to patrol left, you would feel comfortable doing that at the major league level if that's what you were asked to do?
Yeah, whatever I'm asked to do, I'll be comfortable with. Again, whatever, if that situation does appear, I'll be ready and be comfortable with whatever they need me to do.
Have we gotten to the point in the process where your family starts like trying to get information out of you? Like, you haven't heard anything, right? Like, we need to try to start thinking about like making plans. Have you gotten to that point where you feel like you're close enough that your family's hounding you about whether or not you've heard anything about a call?
Oh no, my family's pretty good. They understand, how these things work,
Yeah.
and I do as well.
It's you'll know when I know type of situation, right? Like, if I can tell you something, I tell you something. It doesn't work that way. There's nothing to know. So we know, of course, you're a Star Wars guy, and we know that you had done the big Millennial Falcon project. Have you taken on anything else since then? Has there been anything new that you've worked on this season that maybe we would be equally as impressed by?
Just some mini diagrams, some of the newer ones that came out, some of the heads that they've came out with, the Star Wars ones. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, they had their, May the 4th promotional stuff. And so Gunnar and I actually both got the Razor Crest, and that's the big one we're going to be building this.
Hang on, now I have
season.
Now I have to see it. Okay, wait a second. I got it. The Razor Crest, and I got to see how big. How big is it?
Honestly, I don't know how many pieces it is exactly. I can tell you right now. I'm looking at it.
All right.
It is 6,100 pieces.
Damn. Okay, so how long did it take you total when you did the Millennium Falcon, and how long do you think it'll take you to do the Razor Crest?
I don't think the Razor Crest is going to take me as long because it's a little bit. It seems like it's going to be a little bit easier of a build. But I know Gunnar's already started on it, so he's off to a head start.
I was going to say, is it a race between the two of you?
Yeah, I won last year, so he's a little bit bitter about that. But we were on the road last week, so he went ahead and got a head start.
Oh man, so that's a great point. You can only do it because it's sitting back at your place. I completely understand that. So now this week has presented you the opportunity to do it. Do you find yourself almost obsessed with it? Like on Monday, did you even leave the build, like your house at all? Or did you stay the entire time working on the Razor Crest?
Monday was the off day, so I was I'll just say this: I was pent up in my room a little bit.
All right, is it just this? Like, do you feel like this is going to be a part of your life moving forward? In a way, I don't know if we asked this the last time. Do you find it cathartic at all? Like, does it help when you have a moment away from baseball that you're just not thinking about baseball in any way, and you have something else, a project to dive into? Does that benefit you in some sort of way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good decompression tool that I use. Whether have a bad game, I just come back, sit at my desk and take my mind off things and throw a little TV show on and start building. It's just a really good reset.
Are you and Gunnar sending each other pictures like of the process like every day? Is it that competitive to where like do you maybe try to rope-a-dope him like, oh dude, I didn't get anything done today? Like what does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
I wouldn't say that we're trying to enjoy the build as well, so it's not like we're really trying to finish in as quick as we can, stay up all night. Well, since I didn't get to start to build, he built earlier. I told him not to send me any pictures because I don't want to be spoiled.
Okay, so you can keep going, but he'll let you. If he finishes it, he'll definitely let you know, right? Like there won't be a.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll ask him like, hey, what bag are you on today, or something like that. So
that's so great, man. I love this so much. It's cool that you guys have like bonded with it. Like that's a really, really cool thing. Is there anybody else currently on the team? Is there anybody that gives you crap about it, or do they all respect your process?
everyone's got their opinions.
Hey, man, who cares? Who cares what they think? You're killing it right now. Maybe they should all start building their own Razor Crests in order to be able to replicate the success that you're having. They might want to think about that entirely. All right, Colton Cowser. Hey, why was our buddy Eric Arditi trying to get Sydney Sweeney to comment on your Instagram a couple weeks ago?
I think that stemmed from my mic'd up video during spring training. I was just trying to. Me and Russ were messing around a little bit about Haley Steinfeld and Sydney Sweeney, but I think he was just trying to get some traction.
So maybe no. Have we heard from Sydney Sweeney or Haley Steinfeld at all?
No, absolutely
reason?
not.
That's a shame. That's a real shame that it hasn't worked out that way. At Colton Cowser on Instagram, of course, is how you follow, and NorfolkTides.com to see everything they've got coming up. Dude, I don't know what else to say other than keep killing it, man. Always appreciate you taking the time for us. Can't wait to see you up here, which I imagine is going to be sooner than later. Really appreciate it, and congratulations, and just an awesome start to your season, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate y'all having me. Y'all have a good one.
You as well. Colton Cowser with us here on GCR, one of the Orioles' top prospects, of course, from the Norfolk Tides. And again, NorfolkTides.com is the website to find out more about what they have coming up here in Norfolk in the coming weeks. You know, how much do you know about? I know you're the resident Star Wars guy. Tell me what the
Razor Crest is the Mandalorian.
I'm admittedly just making it up. Like, the Razor Crest, right?
It's the Mandalorian's ship.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So it's pretty cool. It's
I looked it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks.
Yeah, it's what he's been flying. I mean, now he's got a new ship actually built in the new season.
Oh.
But that was like the original one from the first couple seasons, which was pretty cool.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's not different because the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon's like wide.
Right,
it does look like it's a little smaller than the Millennium Falcon. So
I don't know. It still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It looks sick.
It still looks pretty cool.
I mean, and now I'm jealous. Like I feel like, man,
have you ever built one of these things?
No, I haven't. I mean, because I haven't really done Legos since I was like, I don't know, like 10 or maybe 12 or something.
I feel like despite the fact that my sons are 8, they could do this. Like my older son is 8. It blows me away the things that he is capable of when he's doing like Legos. It's nuts to me the types of things that he comes up with. All right, we want to grab a break, try to figure out what's going on.
Sure.
You want to do that?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. You're the producer.
Yeah.
You're saying take a break.
Yes.
Okay. Never know.
You
never know in these situations because the moment that I go to break is the moment that phone's gonna ring, and then it's gonna be awkward for Griffin because he's gonna. We talking recently about him padding. So we can come on. We can talk about how your name is Brett. We can talk about how also your last name is Phillips. And
you play baseball?
You're a baseball player with the Angels, and you used to be with the Orioles. And remember when you were with the Rays, and you had that hit in the World Series? We can talk about those things, right? When we come back in, that's what we're gonna do.
All right, we still got about 3 minutes here in a break.
Poor Griffin. It's going to bring right back all that nervous energy if I do this. But we'll do it anyway, as we're scheduled to be joined by Brett Phillips. There was some hullabaloo because there was a scheduling conflict that, as it turns out, might not have been a conflict at all. In hindsight, all of the effort that we put in this morning in order to try to make sure that things fell together might not have been necessary. Brett Phillips, former Oriole, now with the Angels. He's scheduled to join us next as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of GCR.
What air conditioning company can save 50% of your energy cost and qualify you for up to $7,500 in rebates? A.J. Michaels. We do more, we do it better for less. In Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the pipeline of talent still to come for the Orioles, diving in on last year's #1 pick, Jackson Holliday, and other top prospects like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, and more. Also inside, Todd Karpovich profiles Orioles pitcher Kyle Gibson, and Bo Smolka breaks down what progress would mean for the team's 2022 draft picks in their second pro season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The All-America Senior Game powered by New Balance will be back at Johns Hopkins Homewood Field on July 29th. The most decorated girls and boys lacrosse players in the country have been invited to play in what is the premier lacrosse event of the year. Every college coach wants their players in this game, and if you dream of being in this game, you start by trying out for one of your regional underclass teams this summer. The best against the best. Get your tickets now at allamericalacrosse.com.
Costas Inn has been serving up delicious steamed crabs for over 50 years. Lately, the crabs you want to eat when the weather warms up have gotten harder and harder to get. So get your crab eating game plan in place. Make sure to stick this number on your fridge, 410-477-1975. Call ahead and reserve the size crabs you want. You may be able to walk in, but you may also be disappointed at the size or maybe even get shut out altogether. So call ahead, have a plan, and then arrive on your crab eating vacation. Costas also has delicious crab soup and crab cakes. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard. For more than 50 years, they've been satisfying crab lovers in and around Baltimore.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Check out PressBoxOnline.com every day to find daily winners and betting advice from Jeremy Kahn. And if you want some advice about life decisions that you probably shouldn't make, here's Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR. Continue to move along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Continue to get me your responses, I guess, as we await. Well, we believe Brett Phillips is going to be joining us this morning. Maybe we get our own responses in for Would You Rather Wednesday today. By the way, if you missed Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson on Monday, now every Monday, that trio getting together, 6 o'clock on Facebook Live, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And if you miss it live, you'll be able to catch it the next day, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. All right, let's respond. Would you rather Wednesday? Numero uno. Would you rather Grayson goes ahead and pitches this weekend, or you say, how about a nice IL stint?
This was the
and then
toughest
you allow
one.
DL Hall to come up and make a couple of starts.
Yeah, this is the toughest one. Because I mean, Drew was making good points. Like, yeah, I mean, it's 8 starts. You could very easily give him the next 2, and then you got a nice 10-start, thing to look at here. And if he, stinks it up again in I guess at least one of the next 2, then it's pretty obvious that when he's on an innings limit already. But I mean, I'm leaning to stopping it now, because I mean, he clearly on Monday it was very evident that he didn't really have command of anything. And when he did, it was going to be right over the plate, and it was going to be hit 480 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think if it were up to me, I think I'd pull it right now. I mean, you have Cole Irvin's been good. I mean, obviously you're saying DL Hall, but
right.
Cole Irvin's been good. I mean,
I did
DL
that in
Hall
part.
Also,
I get that. I think internally they might want to say, hey, let's go back to Irvin before they would pull the trigger on Hall. I thought Hall would be more enticing for Orioles fans to say, hey, let's get the. And again, that also goes back to my thought that at some point you need to get an answer on DL Hall and figure out exactly what he is, and continuing to have him make starts at AAA is doing nothing for you, particularly if they're successful starts. Like, how does that help you in any way? At some point you need an answer on what DL Hall can do. What can DL do for you as you try to make the playoffs and move on? So, again, every time I have this because I know we did this a couple weeks ago with Dean Kramer, it's a very similar conversation. It's half of it is about the current pitcher. The other half of it, to me, is about the value of you've got to fire the bullet at some point when it comes to DL Hall and see if it hits the target. Because you've got – I don't know what you think you're benefiting from DL Hall making more starts at AAA. At some point, you've got to fire that bullet. You brought up Logan Gillespie, and I get it. It's a different conversation because you were just going to send Logan Gillespie right back down. But to the point, you still also have options with DL Hall. If you bring him up and put him in the bullpen and he struggles, you can still send him right back down. I think at some point, either DL Hall's got to be able to prove he can help as a starter at the major league level, or you've got to go ahead and make that transition and get him into the bullpen and try to have him help you there. I don't think it's benefiting you any longer to have him throw innings down there. And so that's what makes this conflicting. If the question alone was, should Grayson Rodriguez make his next start, yes or no, I'd probably be inclined to agree with what Drew's saying. Okay, let him go ahead and make his next start. If you let Dean Kramer pitch as long as you let Dean Kramer pitch, and I get it, you had the benefit of knowing that Dean Kramer had pitched well last season, so you knew that he could do it at the major league level, why not ride it out 1 or 2 more starts with Grayson Rodriguez, who we have seen in stints pitch really well. But if the answer is we're not sending Grayson Rodriguez down, we're not demoting him, we're simply doing something that we need to do at some point this season anyway, which is skip a start. In this case, a couple of starts. Let him reset. Let's talk through whatever it is that's going on. Allow him to make a rehab appearance, which again would be 1 inning in Norfolk, and then try this all over again. The worst case scenario is that we're having a conversation in a few weeks where, well, now this is awkward. Everybody's pitching well. Whose spot is Grayson Rodriguez taking when he comes back? And that, of course, is what we like to call a good problem to have. And then you maybe try to work out a 6-man rotation of some sort, which, again, can benefit Grayson in the innings spot with Grayson. And, maybe you are soft-pedaling Grayson. Maybe you're getting back to that thought of a piggyback starter, whatever it is. But it's giving you a bit of a reset that also gives you your first taste of what can DL Hall do. A couple people have brought up in their responses, do you really expect the results to be better for DL Hall pitching in Toronto, pitching against the Rangers? And it's fair, right? Like, it's a fair question of how much better. Are you maybe creating just another problem, the same problem with a different guy, where DL Hall comes up and he's good in moments but not consistently good, and now you feel like you have 2 half pitchers? Well, maybe the answer becomes you do have 2 half pitchers, and they effectively work as one pitcher by each pitching 3 innings and piggybacking off of each other for the rest of the season. Like, that doesn't smell like a terrible idea to me. I am, as you guys know, and we're having a conversation about on the Twitter scape, I just don't think about this the same way that some people do when it comes to how you use pitchers. I am willing to consider other options. Although I admit that Ben Verlander sold me on the
don't Cano in the 4th inning?
No. He sold me on the don't flip-flop Batista and Cano thing. Like, he sold me on – because I was willing to consider, like, hey, some nights a certain part of the lineup is coming up. Just put Batista in the 8th inning if he's better against those. He sold me on the idea that once you're the 9th inning guy, you don't handle it well if you're not the 9th inning guy, that you have to lose that job definitively. And so he sold me on the it's got to be Batista in the 9th inning. But reiterated what was my belief was that otherwise you use these guys whenever the situation calls for them. And if that's the answer on DL Hall and Grayson Rodriguez, they're both good 3-inning pitchers, then use them that way until one of them proves that they can do more than that, right? Or an injury situation creates it so that you have to figure out if one of them can do more than that. But I'm inclined to say that would be, to me at the moment, the more desirable of the 2 options.
To send Grayson to the IL.
Just to give him an IL stint.
Yeah.
Again, that's part of the problem. Like, is he on board with that? Is he willing to say the right things? And, man, I was dealing with some tight muscles, and I didn't even recognize it, whatever it was. But I think there is benefit for all parties involved.
And then who knows, maybe this is just, it's going to be the Dean Kramer all over, and we just needed to talk about it. And
right, and as soon as we have that conversation, as soon as that somebody can turn around and say, don't you feel stupid for suggesting he shouldn't make his next start? As soon as that happens, maybe we just keep doing this every time a starter's struggling. You and I can solve the problem. All right, number 2, would you rather you bet on
the Warriors or the Spurs?
Sorry, I should tell you. Unfortunately, Brett Phillips is not going to be able to join us this morning. I don't know what the story is. I hope I didn't jinx him by suggesting he was getting, DFA'd. I hope that's not the case. I do. I swear to God, we have had. There was one that was really uncomfortable. Somebody was supposed to join us.
Oh man!
And remember we had the Mike Greenberg thing a few weeks ago.
Oh right.
And we had no idea the dude was in the hospital. The terrible. Like, he was legitimately going through a medical emergency, and we're like, I don't know what happened to Mike Greenberg today. Kind of bailed on us. And he calls us later. He's like, sorry, I was in the doctor's office. And I still didn't know until that weekend. Like, I'm looking on Twitter, and they're, like, talking about how he hadn't been on a show all week, and because I don't watch the show. I just had no idea, and then I felt like a jerk. Actually, that's really on you as a producer, I think.
for the
more than
Green
it is on anybody else.
You're right.
But we've had other moments like that over the years where like we had something scheduled for the show, and then it didn't happen for one reason or another.
I was almost worried, like, what if Calgary gets called up today? And then
those types of scenarios have occurred. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like there have been awkward phone calls, and like the awkward, we can't tell you what it is. We just, unfortunately, this person's not going to be able to make it. I hope everything's all right with Brett Phillips. I hope everything's okay. The Angels apologize. He's not going to be able to join us today.
ask for somebody else big time.
Yeah, right. Say, well, okay.
Okay, well,
give us
Ohtani?
Trout. Right. Yeah. Sure. Right. Yeah, I tell you how you can make it up to it. Just go ahead and put Mike Trout on the phone right now. Right now. And you can make it up to us. All right. Yes. Warriors with a core group or Spurs in the next 7 years?
I think it's too easy, the Spurs. Are the Spurs
I think you guys are dopes.
undoubted? Really?
I think you guys are biting.
It almost sounds like Draymond's halfway out the door.
I understand that. How's that going to hurt them?
When you say core, what is the core? You're saying Kerr,
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Like
Steph?
even one of them is gone, but the other two are still there. That still counts as the core, right? Like,
okay, fine.
like
I was kind of including Draymond, I guess.
oh no, it
in
doesn't have to
my-
be
in
all
my
three of
idea.
them that were there. But like if Steph, I would even say
Kevon
as far
Looney
as
has to stick around.
yes, correct. The core of the Warriors' dominance. I get that. Again, it's been overwhelming. Obviously, it's tilted towards the Spurs. I get that, and I understand the thought process. But I think we're also skipping a lot of steps ahead. In how many years until LeBron won his first title in
A
Miami?
lot. So that was 2011, right? So he's drafted in 04.
Yeah.
So 7 or 8 seasons.
And again, that required him to go pair up with other superstars in another city. He didn't win a title in Cleveland until 10 years in.
It just the
Wait,
Spurs.
11 years in? How many? My God.
What? Oh, in Cleveland? Yeah,
Jesus
Cleveland was
Christ.
2016.
Yeah, 12 years in. Now,
Tough
again,
to win in the NBA.
I understand, but that's sort of my point, right? I kept trying to figure out a way to do a Victor Wembanyama related Would You Rather today, and I was like, what if the Bucks came to you and said straight up, we'll give you Giannis for Wembanyama? And I realized like everybody was going to go to Wembanyama. Like it's just we've all been sold these magic beans. This is the greatest player in the history of basketball.
Yeah, Woj said he was like, this is the greatest prospect in the history of team sports. This may be the greatest prospect in the history of team sports.
To be fair, there's no context for that.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. I mean, come on, man. Like, I get it. I understand what you're saying. He's an outstanding prospect, no question about it. But LeBron James was the greatest player in basketball history, and LeBron James didn't win a title. By the way, it was 2003. He didn't win a title for God's sakes, for 9 years into his career. And didn't win a title with a team that drafted him until, Jesus Christ, 13 years into his career. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player in history and didn't win a title until
his 8th?
Oh, it was longer than 8th, wasn't it?
He was drafted in 84.
84, 92. So, yeah, I guess it was his 8th or 9th season.
Yeah, and the NBA is confusing.
Yeah, I know, right?
They
did
do
the
both
seasons.
years. That's why baseball's the best.
Wait, but I did
You
that
just got
math
1 year.
wrong. He was 91, so I guess it was his 8th. 91 was his first
season into the won it in 92.
No, I think he won. It was 91, 92, 93. Then he took 2 years off. 96, 97, 98, right? Wasn't
yes,
that the?
Yeah. 96, 97, 98. Yeah.
Don't I have that math right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm getting old. It's getting more and more difficult.
4 and 5, yeah.
I believe that's the case.
So
But
1, 2, and 3.
The point is, these things don't come quickly. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, 91.
84 draft. 91 was the first title. So that would have been 85, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90, 91. 7th season. So he technically, for what it's worth, would have
LeBron.
Well, but he would have fit into this 7-year window that
Yeah.
I've created for Wembanyama, right? But it did require them taking steps along the way and finding a Scottie Pippen. And yes, the Spurs had more picks in order to find other good players, but some of those are pick protected. So if they are high picks, they're not going to turn into superstar players necessarily. Although again, you'd point out, well, they found Kawhi Leonard a little bit deeper in the draft too, and so they can find superstars without having a top pick. I guess my point would just be, I would still argue that the team that's close is still probably the better bet than the team that we only know one piece of the puzzle. That's not fair.
So like we got.
Part of it is, are we projecting that Greg Popovich is going to stay the entire
exactly.
time?
I mean, that's kind of my other thing. I mean, the Spurs have shown they have done this before, and they did the only other 2 first-round picks in the history of the Spurs, David Robinson and
is
Tim
also
Duncan.
74 years old, man. That's really tough. Like I get we're all there's part of it's like, really, you're giving Greg Popovich Victor Wembanyama, like he's definitely going to figure that out. I get that's part of what we're doing.
And he surrounded Duncan and Robinson, with Tony
I understand,
Parker,
but
Ginobili,
he's 74
Kawhi.
years old. He's 74. I don't.
They've still been a great run organization, and I think Popovich has left his mark on the organization, even if he leaves in the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. That does zero for me. The idea that like whoever that would be, whoever the next person is, and Bruce Bowen. I don't even know who else is on the. Because people thought it was Becky Hammond once upon a time. I think after what happened this week, that basically slams the door on Becky Hammond being the one to replace Greg Popovich. I always thought it was a long shot to begin with, but I think that basically wraps it up. Oh, Brett Brown, yeah, of course.
Matt Nielsen.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought there was a former player.
Maybe Tim Duncan comes back and coaches.
Right, comes back to coach, or one of these other guys.
Manu would be cool.
Manu would be cool. I don't disagree with that. Or Tony Parker, because there's the French connection, right? They should make a movie about that. I get it. I understand why everybody's so overwhelming.
It's essentially when you say that. So the core you're saying is Curry and Clay.
It's some group of that. If Draymond sticks around to be a part of it, great. If not, whatever.
Okay.
Some group.
I mean, I don't think just those 3. I mean, obviously, if Kevin Durant or a Kevin Durant like player comes and joins, obviously that changes a lot of things.
They won the title a year ago.
Yeah.
Like you're acting like that's what it required. I understand
they limped along this season.
They limped along last year and still won the title. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green didn't do much. Steph Curry carried them to a title, and I get it. He's getting older, and that's part of the calculus of all of this. Part of it would have to be that Jordan Poole figures out who the F Jordan Poole is. There's no question that
some nights he's Steph Curry.
that he's got to be a more consistent basketball player, because that was part of how they were able to win the title the year before. I understand the simple concept of it doesn't seem good for the Warriors right now, but they're also one more player away from still having Steph Curry and being able to ask less of Klay Thompson moving forward. It does not take much for someone to say, I'd really like to win a title. I could go out there to Golden State and help them out for a year.
Say that about San Antonio, too?
No, they're very far away from winning a title, Griffin.
They're want to play with Wembanyama.
I understand that, but they're very far away from winning a title.
LeBron.
Thank you. That's a great point. That did happen. They didn't win a title. That didn't happen.
Those Cavalier teams that they surround. I mean, I don't know. You expect them to hit on their draft. I mean, like as you mentioned, they have what? You guys said they have 6 first-round draft picks?
They have as many as 6. They're not guaranteed to get all of them because they're pick protected, but they have as many as 6 first-round picks over the next 2 years. And yes, I get it. It's why you do the math and you think that they can build something, but you're skipping ahead. I'm not saying it's a terrible bet. I just don't think that it's the smarter bet to make of the two, because there are too many unknowns involved. Whereas the Warriors, you're starting with the foundation of a playoff team that was a win away from being in the Western Conference Finals this year. Like, that's a decent foundation to begin with. And the idea that they're just all going to give up.
2 wins away.
Right, because they lost in Game 6. Sorry, thank you. They did lose in Game 6.
Game 6 Clay dead. So.
That's right. Game 6 Clay might be dead at this point. But no, that's a better foundation for which to make a bet. And the thought that they're all just going to give up, they're all just going to pack it in. Like, whatever, we had our run, it's over now. Instead of turning around and saying, well, while we still have Steph Curry, maybe we attempt to do something. Land one more guy, one more fortifying player that could help us make one more push for a title. I'm not saying they will, but I think that we are being reckless in how we're assuming that it's a wildly better bet just because, first of all, Wembanyama's got to be the guy that everybody says he's going to be. And I get it, the math, at this point, it would be a wild disappointment, but let's not pretend like there haven't been a lot of disappointments over the years.
Zion's been a disappointment so far.
Zion's been a drastic disappointment. to this point. I mean, like, it's not the only one. Greg Oden was going to be a superstar.
Only 4.
Darko Milicic, you know, like the list
only
goes
4
on.
number 1 picks of
Correct.
one with their team.
How's Kwame Brown looking? Now, I get it. None of those guys were talked about like when Wembanyama's being discussed as far as being a prospect. And I see the same guy. He's an alien. I've watched. It's nuts. There is no world in which a dude that size should be able to do the things that this kid is capable of doing. I understand why we are losing our mind about Victor Wembanyama. He's in thought, a better version of Kevin Durant, right? Like in thought,
Which
in
is crazy.
in
Which is
theory,
unbelievable.
he's that skill set, but he's smoother, which is absolutely insane. But remember, Kevin Durant didn't win a title with the team that drafted him. Kevin Durant only won titles.
Well,
when
no one
he-
did. No one won with the Sonics, I don't think.
Oh, well, the Sonics became the Thunder, yeah. Nobody did. No, I mean, years upon years ago. Didn't Lenny Wilkins? No.
Did.
Where did Lenny Wilkins? Did the Sonics ever win a title? Actually, maybe they didn't win a title ever. Lenny
guess the
Wilkins
Thunder
definitely
never
won a
did either,
title. Yeah, the
so.
Thunder definitely never won a title. Lenny Wilkins, I think of Lenny Wilkins as a guy that won a title, but I don't.
Oh, they did win in 79.
There you go.
Okay,
I was
okay.
all over it.
Yeah.
I was all over it. Yes, I don't think Kevin Durant was part of that team. At that point, either was Sean Kemp or Gary Payton.
He was
I don't
not alive.
I could not tell you who was on the 79 Sonics team. I don't know who their big stars were in 79. I don't know how we got here.
Wembanyama.
Wembanyama.
So,
thank
yeah,
you.
Spurs are going to win before the Dubs.
I think that I would have to make the bet on Golden State just because of the foundation that they come back with.
They beat the Bullets.
What's
that
that?
year. The Sonics beat the Bullets that year.
Wow, that's right. They did.
They were the Washington Bullets.
What year? So the Bullets won the title in 78 then? Because they won one title after they moved to Washington. And I don't remember what year. It might have been 78. Whatever. How are we doing this to ourselves? I blame you. I blame Brett Phillips, really, is who I'm blaming this. All right, you can do one
they
thing.
did win 78.
78. All right. You can do one thing to rewrite baseball history. Either you can make it so that Chris Davis retired after the 2016 season, or you can make it so that Zach Hempel. God, I said his name. Damn it. Piss. I didn't want to use his name. The douchebag that catches the home runs, that caught Cedric Mullins' home run the other night. So that guy never picked up a baseball glove and never existed in our consciousness.
I want to say, I mean, like, because Davis retiring at 16 that really doesn't change anything. The Orioles were going to suck no matter what after, heading into 17, 18, and 19. I think.
Say that. If the
you
money
think that, like, that would have changed their approach to spending money?
The question becomes, if the money is off the books, are they more inclined to try to make a push for Manny Machado? If,
didn't it seem like their mind was almost kind of made up at that point in 16 that Manny was not?
I think the awkwardness of the organizational situation, that's the bigger issue, was anything ever going to overcome that? Like, was anything ever going to overcome that Dan Duquette wanted out, that they didn't appear to be committed, or could it have been? Like, I think in hindsight, the question is, if they had won in 17, would that have changed something? Like, did the results of the 17 season ultimately set everything into motion that it wasn't going to work in Baltimore? It's so impossible to know because all of it is so awkward. It's the awkwardness of the transition between Peter Angelos and John Angelos and who was making the decisions, and every layer of it is uncomfortable to try to figure out. So when you say it, I understand why you say it. I just don't know that with certainty.
Yeah. And also, I mean, because I do like Chris Davis, so, like, it would have been a nice kind of better way to put him out to the pasture, I guess.
Certainly would have been.
Certainly.
He would have been a
As
beloved
his-
figure. He
yes.
could have come back. He could have waved his little cap. He could have, it would have been awkward that we would have been like, what the hell? Why did you retire? Like, you have so much left.
The Hampel guy is wild. I mean, so, like, I saw him because I was leaving in the ninth inning. I was waiting for Ohtani's his last at bat to see if something happened. And because he needed the double, and so I was like standing on the flag court, and there he was. He was like, he had his phone out taking a video. He was like, Ohtani's up, he's one hit shy of the cycle. It was, I mean, because I didn't know he caught the Mullins ball until after I left the game, or until actually because I ran into my friend as I was leaving, who I didn't know was at the game, and he was like, yeah, he's like, he caught the Mullins ball. I was like, what? So he's got the shirt on. It says hit it here. He's interesting.
He's not. I disagree completely with that. He's not interesting. It's like
a car accident, though. I mean,
no. That's what makes it so sad. He's not interesting. He doesn't do anything. He's a fart. He's a pimple on the ass of baseball. We've gotten less interesting. We have dumbed ourselves down to make it believe that he's interesting. He should have just been an anomaly, like, oh, right, that guy. And no one should have ever cared. But we paid this D-bag so much attention that he turned it into a look at me type of thing wherever he goes anywhere, and he thinks he's part of the show, and he thinks he's important, and he thinks he matters, and this is you know what, I'm an old man yelling at a cloud. I understand that. I accept it, but this is the downfall, that the people that do things that matter don't matter. And this idiot is someone that gets attention and has a huge social media following and has been able to make a career out of something that is in no way a skill.
Yeah. My answer is going to be Davis. Just, so he can have a cleaner career, and then, maybe it does change the organizational philosophy about paying Manny, paying the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll take Davis as horrible as this guy is. I mean, it doesn't really affect us.
I think the best argument for
nor does Chris Davis, I guess, affect us.
Yeah, I think the best argument. By the way, the best argument is we hate this guy, so let's make him go away. Right? Like that's the best argument. But the next best argument I've gotten from a few people is it's the butterfly effect thing. Right? Like we feel pretty good about where things are now, so why mess with anything?
Yeah.
Like at the moment, if you had asked this question in 2020, well then obviously. But at the moment, we're like, as painful as it was, we're okay with where we're headed. And if Chris Davis retiring had thrown off, like if that had been, you don't get Adley Rutschman, you don't, there's this drastic butterfly effect because of it, who knows where the Orioles would be at the moment. And so I get that argument for adding that to I don't like that dude. Makes it easier to say, may that guy never pick up a glove, and may we all just understand that catching a ball at a baseball game is not a skill of any sort. It's just some lucky moment that occurs, and you find a kid and you give the ball to a kid, unless it's some sort of ball. We all understand if it's Aaron Judge's home run ball,
you
don't do that.
No, you throw it back.
Right.
Just like the guy that threw back Otani's.
Oh yeah. A hell of a throw, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Well, because I guess it was Wallach's homer that someone threw back, and I was like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever. And then Otani's was thrown back. I think it was Andy Koska did. He found the guy and did a quick. The banner did a quick.
That's cool.
A quick little.
That's a good.
I
think that's a good thing to do. Yeah. Did I see that there was a baseball game somewhere where somebody threw a ball out of the upper deck?
Really?
Back to the field. That's a bit more terrifying, man. Like
throw that.
Yeah,
you gotta get that to second base. Probably
that can
throw him out at home.
That can cause some damage if you end up.
But anyway, my friend was telling me, he was like, because he saw Hampel catch the Mullins ball, so he was like showing me he did it like a little step back, and then like stepped in and then stepped back and somehow caught it. Like he's turned it into a skill. He's turned it into a skill.
No, he hasn't. It's not a skill. He's just a guy standing there.
He's come up with balls.
That's fine. It's an anomaly. He's fighting against no one.
I'm not trying to defend him at all.
God, he is the worst. The absolute pits.
So you're getting rid of him?
Yes, 1,000 times. Continue to get me your responses at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio, and you could win a free T-shirt of your choosing from Birdland Sports. Print issue of Press Box is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all. PressBoxOnline.com. Jackson Holiday is part of that pipeline that still exists despite the first group of guys getting here. There's still a lot more to come for the Orioles in the coming years, and it's all recognized inside this issue. And then in concert with that issue, we are hooking somebody up. Great prize. Awesome prize. 4 tickets to all of the area minor league baseball teams, plus an Easy Pass Maryland on-the-go transponder preloaded with $25. Plus, but wait, there's more. The $50 Royal Farms gas card to help you get around. But you got to go to PressBoxOnline.com/contests. In order to sign up, you must be 18 or older, and the contest ends on June 14th. Tidbit brought to you today by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
You see the Browns signed Chris Westry yesterday?
I did not. Okay.
Disappointing. Bring back Westry.
I guess.
Now he's going to give out all the intel.
Sure, it's going to be the difference. Chris Westry being a Brown.
Jokic became the first player in NBA postseason history with a 30-point triple-double and 70% shooting in consecutive games after his performance last night. Davis and Jokic also became the third pair of opposing starting centers to each have 30 points in a playoff game. Do you think you can try to name the other?
Say it one more time.
The other two duos. Opposing centers with 30 points in a playoff game.
I'm going to guess Shaq was part of one of them.
He was part of one of them. They both happened in 1995.
Hakeem?
Shaq and Hakeem.
Are there any more that involve Shaq?
No. Hakeem is actually in both.
Hakeem is
I don't know why I gave you that.
Well, I might have asked that question next.
Yeah.
Hakeem and Patrick Ewing.
Not Patrick Ewing.
I guess because did Patrick Ewing play in the? No, he missed the finals with the Spurs, if I remember correctly. David Robinson, yes, in the finals. So those were, I think, back-to-back series. Hakeem and Shaq in 95, and then Hakeem and David Robinson in the finals in 95. Well, wait, no. Hakeem and Shaq would have been in the finals. David Robinson and Hakeem both played in the Western Conference.
What team was Hakeem on?
Hakeem was on the Rockets.
Oh.
What team did you think he was on?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
He was on the Hawks.
He did end up somewhere. Did he end up at Toronto at the end of his career? There was a late career cameo for Hakeem Olajuwon somewhere that we've all forgotten about. If we did the Patrick Stevens game with NBA players, we would be like, really? He was there? I want to say it was Toronto.
You are correct, Toronto.
Was there anywhere else? Just Toronto?
Nope, just Toronto. Yeah. 84 to 2001 with the Rockets, and the 2001-2 season.
Yep, made
Toronto.
that cameo in Toronto. Weird bit. All right, is that?
I did have more. The Pistons, they received the 5th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft lottery last night.
Despite having the worst record.
Yeah, despite having the worst record. So that is 5 straight seasons now where the team with the worst record has not gotten the first overall pick.
That's sort of what the NBA tried to do when they made it. They made the odds a little bit more difficult because
they're exactly coincides with 2019 when they introduced the new format.
They're trying to prevent you from. Well, no, I think it's the exact. They're trying to say, don't tank. You're not going to be rewarded for tanking. Like, you might have it work out, but we are making it so that there is not nearly as much of an advantage because we want you to keep trying to play basketball games and win. And look, man. I talked about this when baseball said they wanted to do it. I was like, hey, that feels a little personal because the Orioles were right in the midst of their
now do it. Come on.
Play badly for Adley regime. But, like, I get it. I understand why professional sports are saying we don't want there to be rewards for being bad. The concept was the bad teams get better until the teams figured out, right, so there's a benefit to being bad. We should try to be bad. And then you say, all right, we don't want that either.
Spurs perfected it, apparently.
I guess they did.
Just bad enough.
Yeah, just bad enough. Well, I mean, I was stunned. I thought they were going to win 10 games this year. I thought the Spurs were going to be the worst team in basketball history.
I'm surprised they weren't the worst team.
How many wins did they
going
finish?
into last night, I still thought they were the best.
How many wins did they finish
20?
with? I think I bet the under on 22, if I remember correctly. I was like, that's an insanely low number, and I'm going to bet the under anyway. I don't remember. Whatever.
Spurs had 22 wins.
Exactly 22 wins. Now I got to figure out what the number is. Hang on a second. I got to see if I nailed this. I
Pistons
obviously missed my Keegan Murray Rookie of the Year.
Pistons had 17 wins.
That one did not go well for me. I got to figure out what the number was that I said for the Spurs. Go ahead. Anyway.
Okay. Also, so the Rays continue to mash the baseball. Isaac Paredes and Jose Suri both homered last night, so they both reached 5 home runs on the year. Paredes homered twice, so he has 6 on the year.
Okay.
And the Rays now have...
Who's not the Paredes that may or may not be playing in Frederick. That's a different Paredes altogether. You ever get the bottom of that situation?
Yeah, actually, no.
I want you to get on that. I want you to get on that. What's going on with Starlin Castro and Jimmy Paredes? What the hell happened there?
The Rays now have 10 different players with at least 5 home runs on this season. 10 different players with at least 5 home runs on this season. They are the only team in MLB history to have 10 different players with 5 homers before playing 50 games in a season. They reached that mark just 43 games in.
Say that one more time.
The only team in MLB history to ever have to reach 10 different players with 5 home runs on the season.
Okay, all right.
In the first 50 before playing 50 games.
I bet under 22.5 wins. Bam!
Did it pay out yet?
I assume so. I got to go
You just
check.
don't know.
Yeah, I didn't bother. It
You just
was
assumed.
months ago. Literally bet.
I
under
remembered my Aaron
22.5
Judge
wins.
MVP bet that I made in June. Well, you can go back and find the stuff. I bet the
Oh
Colorado.
no, this is in print. This was in the print issue of Press Box.
Oh, okay.
I said bet under
I
22.5
bet
wins.
on New Year's Eve. I bet the Colorado Buffaloes football team to get over 4.5 wins with under
what
their
was-
first
and
season with
what-
Dion.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. So just because I don't know, my friend and
Yeah,
I were looking
right.
at it, we're like, it's Dion,
Plus the
right? I mean,
Pac-
he's
and the
gonna.
Pac-12
We were looking at their
stinks.
schedule, like, and it's
Right.
a tough schedule, but it was like,
But you say that like who's going to be good in the
5
Pac-12
wins.
besides USC and Oregon? Who's definitely going to be good?
I guess Utah was good last year.
Yeah. Okay.
so-
Yeah. Utah probably. Probably Utah.
Yeah. I mean,
mean-
also the Pac-12 is weird, so it could be,
I don't.
But
Whatever.
yeah, I
Anyway.
mean, it's Dion. Like he
Who knows?
figures it
All
out.
right. All right. Let's
This
get to
one
the point.
came from the broadcast last night. Yannick Cano, 16 appearances now without allowing a run or a walk to start this season. So most consecutive appearances to begin a season. No runs, no walks. He has the third most all time. The broadcast gave out the top 6 here. You should be able to get.
I'm
4
assuming these are
of
all
the other 5.
relievers.
Yes, yeah, they're all relievers.
Greg Olson,
Not Greg Olson.
Zach Britton.
Not Zach Britton. Not Orioles all time.
Oh,
all time.
anyone
Yes,
all time.
Anyone all time. So he is third all time with 16 appearances.
To
Number
start,
one is 19.
To start a season
start
or
a
start,
season.
to start a season.
19 appearances.
Mariano Rivera.
Rivera is on the list. He had 14 straight appearances, no runs, no walks in 2008.
Trevor Hoffman.
Trevor Hoffman in 2009 also had 14 straight consecutive appearances to start the season, no runs or no walks.
Lee Smith.
Not Lee Smith.
Bruce Suter.
Not Bruce
Goose
Sutter.
Gossage.
Not Goose.
Billy Wagner.
Not Billy Wagner.
Okay. Dennis Eckersley.
Dennis Eckersley with the Oakland Athletics also had 14 in 1990.
Raleigh Fingers.
Not Raleigh.
Aroldis Chapman.
Not Aroldis Chapman. So this was a Toronto reliever in 2001. Had 17. Yeah, I didn't.
Dwayne Ward.
Not Dwayne Ward. I'll just give you- it was
2001.
Paul Quantrill.
Yeah.
Paul Quantrill.
I guess Cal Quantrill the other day.
Yeah. Number 1 on this list with 19 consecutive appearances to open the season in 2019.
In 2019.
They won the World Series that year. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. They lost the World Series.
Jansen.
Not Jansen.
Wait a second. Now I got to remember who lost the
They
Dodgers. The Dodgers
no,
lost.
the Nats beat the.
Oh, the Astros.
They
right.
beat the Astros.
Oh God.
Who's their closer?
Why do I not remember who the Astros closer was in 2019?
He's still the closer.
Oh my God.
Guess we'll just sit here.
Hang on a second.
Got to make you know this.
Why do I not remember this? Oh God.
He had a rough start to this season.
Osuna?
Not Osuna. Roberto Osuna. Maybe he started 2019 as the closer, I guess, which Osuna did, but he's the current closer. And
Presley?
Ryan
Okay.
Presley. Ryan
All
Presley, 19 consecutive
Okay.
appearances to open the season in 2019. That is the most all time with no runs or no walks.
All right. Very
So,
good.
Yannick Cano
Very
chasing
good.
history.
Pretty impressive. Pretty
Next on the list to catch, Paul Quantrill.
All right. Tubular is brought to you by AJ Michaels, expert and award-winning AJ Michaels Heating, AC, Plumbing, and Home Performance. All of them in one. It's one call. Handles it all. Will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. AC season is here. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. Orioles, Angels, Game 3 of the 4-game set. Kyle Bradish, who came up through the Angels system on the mound tonight against Griffin Canning, 6:30 on Masson 2.
How did we get Bradish? He started with the Angels?
He was in the...
Was he in one of the, not Bundy or?
Might have been.
Who else did we trade to the Angels?
There were I feel like there were a couple of
Yeah.
smaller. Dude, I used to be able to tell you this stuff right off the top of my head. He was in the Dylan Bundy trade, exactly right. Isaac
Knew it.
Matson, Kyle Bernovich, and Zach Peak were the
Oh,
others
Zach Peak.
involved in that trade. And yes,
He's
the
Darth
Bundy.
Vader, right? That's what what do they call him?
Oh, right,
They
yeah.
call Zach. He got Tommy John last year.
Yeah, tonight 6:30. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals at 8:30 on TNT for the Heat and Celtics. Find the rest of the baseball at glennclarkradio.com. DC United, Philadelphia Union tonight 7:30 on Fox Sports 1. The other leg of the Champions League final will be set this afternoon, 3 o'clock on CBS for leg 2 of the semifinal between Man City and Real Madrid. TBS for AEW Dynamite tonight as well.
Couple
Noms,
things.
yes.
Yeah, a couple things. Farmer Wants a Wife, season 1 finale
that is
on
important.
Fox. New episode of Dave. New episode of Ted Lasso, obviously. On Paramount Plus, they are starting. It's essentially, does not look good. It's essentially Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but with the Stallone family.
I saw that.
It is
And
the family Stallone.
I will say
series
his daughters are lovely. They're lovely.
They are lovely.
And you would think they'd be older at this point because Sly's like 80, right? Like, but
Yeah, well, yeah, he is. But I guess
I don't
he's got
know.
How old's his wife? She's only younger. I mean,
oh
not
yeah,
younger,
probably.
but
Yeah,
like
right. You're
younger
probably
than
right
him.
about that.
Angel City Part 2 on HBO. Apple TV has a new series called High Desert with Patricia Arquette. She's like a drug addict, and then her mother just died, and she decides, I'm becoming a PI. It's supposed to be pretty funny, but, you know. Netflix has a new Conor McGregor documentary, McGregor Forever. I'm not sure why. I'm thinking it's because I think The Ultimate Fighter's coming up, and I guess they're just trying to kind of promote like a McGregor resurgence or something this summer. That's my guess. Like he's gonna start his comeback. Also, Working, What We Do All Day documentary on Netflix as well. This one is narrated by Barack Obama, and it's just about people in America working.
How about that? Could be me.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna make an appearance? I work.
I don't think so.
No, we didn't make it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sly
It has been shot already. The film.
These three daughters were with Jennifer Flavin, who is 54. So that does explain a thing or two because, yes, Sly Stallone is...
in the trailer, you really couldn't tell the daughters and the mom apart.
Yeah, so Sly's 76, wife is 54. Good for Sly. And then, by the way, there'll never be a day where I don't care. There's a part of me that loves Sly so much that I would almost be willing to watch this. I started watching Tulsa King. Like, I just love Sly that much.
Like Creed 3, such a...
It was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have figured... I understand, but you could. I don't think I'll watch it, but it's non-zero is all I can say.
They were trying to make...
non-zero.
They're trying to make it look like he's, like, petting his cat in, like, the trailer, and he's
Okay.
just like, whoa, why are you
Well, I mean,
filming
he's
me?"
also 76 years old, in fairness. The three daughters are Sophia, who's 26, Sistine, who's 24, and Scarlett, who's 20. So, yes, a little bit later in life. He was 56 when his youngest daughter was born. So, I mean, good for you. That's 23 years before Robert De Niro. So, there's that. All right, everything else, find at GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks today to Drew Forrester and also thanks to Colton Cowser. We'll get those things up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh, my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program,
Diamond Miller.
Diamond Miller's going to
Yes.
join us. WNBA season gets underway this weekend, and she is going to be a rookie with Minnesota.
Ryan McGee, author.
Right, Ryan McGee. I'm 2 chapters into his book. It's. I didn't realize it was. I thought he went around different. It's
about his story, right?
Story
Yeah.
of coming up in minor. Ryan McGee from ESPN, who's great. Who's just awesome. Wrote a book about his own experience working for the Asheville Tourists when he was a kid, and sort of his love and affinity for the kitschiness of minor league baseball. And it's. And I think all those of us that have taken in a lot of minor league baseball. There's a lot of you can relate in so many ways. So we'll talk to Ryan McGee.
And then Zach Watson from Bowie.
To make our trip to Bowie, talk to Zach Watson. All right, very good. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including AJ Michaels, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, All-American Lacrosse, Birdland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass is how you follow him. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.